start doing it? I was kind of looking back at the dates, but
So
what was
I did it. I started in June last year.
in June?
With a guy, there was a guy called Christopher Lowe. So Jesse actually put me in touch with him.
Yeah.
So I'm swimming the channel. Jesse put me in touch with this guy who has swam it. He's swam it as a relay swim.
Oh, sweet.
So he'd connected the two of us so that I could chat to someone and be like, hey, can I get some info? And I'd honestly thought about it for ages. For like a decade plus, I'd thought about it, but I was always too...
Like the swim?
No, the podcast.
Doing this, okay, yeah.
But I was just always too nervous. I was like, me? Like why would anyone want to listen to it? Like, massive imposter syndrome. But I'd always want to do it, and then eventually I was just maybe like similar to you a little bit, where like I don't really drink that much anymore.
Yeah.
So I think I was just like having like quite a lot of sober weekends. And then I was just like, I'll just do it.
Yeah, what am I going to fill the time with? I'll just do it.
But I did it like little like bits at a time where like I was like, okay, just think of a name. You know, and then I just got the name, and then I was like, okay, well, I guess I got a name, so like just do the website. And then it kind of just, and now, like it's now, I'm like, like now just add another camera.
That's sweet.
Yeah, it's cool. Like it definitely, like I would say it's massive. A lot of like, I do self-doubt it a lot. Like I think like, is it stupid to do? Or not stupid, I don't mean that, but like I want to do it, but I'm just nervous because it's like it's like anything that you do, like you're like, hey, I've done this thing. You're putting it out into the universe and being like, judge me.
But I think the best part about it as well is I thought about doing something similar. I was actually thinking about doing something similar with only my family members and like interviewing my family members, because I find that like you don't chat with them that often. I'd like to know more about them. And I was like, this just formalizes a conversation with somebody, and you probably come out learning so much about everything that the people do.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. I had the same thing. Like I said on a previous podcast with someone where like, I remember meeting this guy randomly in Singapore. This is like a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was traveling through Singapore by myself. We were sitting in a hostel, and we were just kind of shooting shit. Like, what are you doing? Whatever. And he was like, I'm just going to go like a walk. So he was like, do you want to come? So I was like, yeah. So we walked around Singapore for 3 hours, nothing like mental. But at this point I was maybe like 23 or whatever. And that was the deepest conversation I'd ever had with anyone. And this guy was like a total stranger. But it was a bit of a common theme when I was traveling. And I'd never really traveled before then. Like I'd always lived in Scotland, gone on holiday to Spain with my friends or my family. So kind of a bit of a like closed bubble. And then, a common theme of the travel thing was like I'd meet strangers and have these like, not even necessarily like intense or deep, but like, like quite like deeper conversations that I've been having up to that point. And I remember being like, wow, like I loved it.
Yeah.
But it was just such a, as you say, like I had to like, me doing this now is kind of like formalizing that, like imagine me saying to you like, hey Gavin, like forget the podcast and all that stuff. And maybe it could, but imagine me just being like, hey, can I just like ask you questions for like 2 hours? You'd be like, yeah, I get.
I'd probably say yes.
Yeah, no, I think
I love talking to you.
Yeah. I think, and it's funny. Like some people are definitely open to it, and then other people are just different. They're just like,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But I do appreciate you doing it. Is that a new, Maria? As soon as I saw that T-shirt, I was like,
no, this is the one from last year, but we've reordered these ones as well.
Has the work just been mental?
Hasn't been mental. We've just been just like picking up buses, setting them up. Nothing crazy. I think next week will be a little bit busier as well, and Mr. Busman has gone to England for the week. So
is that friends? Is it Alex?
Alex's. I think he had two. Well, sorry, Alex had two friends getting married, and Jesse got out of one, but didn't get out of the other one.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. I had the same ish last year. I actually had a wedding that I got out of. I just didn't go. I didn't get out of it. I just didn't go. But but I had my sister's wedding, which was like the end of August.
That's the one that you skipped.
No, that's when I went to. Yeah, I was one in like way back in July that I skipped, and I would have gone, but honestly, it wasn't that I liked that person any less. It was purely just the finance of like, there was two weddings I had to go to. One was my sister's, and then another one, which was 3 weeks later, was just one of my best mates I'd grown up with.
And you went back home?
I went back for both.
Oh, shit.
But I'd said to my boss, I was like, to Jeff, I was like, do you mind if can I take 3 weeks?
Oh, like, did you do the whole time?
No,
between?
he said no.
Oh.
So I flew there for a long weekend, I think it was like a Thursday, Monday scenario for my sisters, or for my mates. Sorry, I think my mates was first. Went there for my friends, came back for 2 weeks, and then
went
flew back again.
I'm kind of doing something similar at the end of the summer. I have like 4 weddings in 6 weeks in Toronto, and one of them is like I'm the best man for my cousins. So I'm same kind of thing where I'm like, I'm just gonna be flying back and forth from Toronto.
Yeah, it's kind of brutal.
Maybe will boss man give me some time off, and I'll take like a week to spend in Toronto, like wedding, chill, then go to New York for it.
Oh, you got another one in New York?
It's not not all in Toronto, but it's like 2 in Toronto, 1 in Montreal, and 1 in New York.
Yeah. Kind of at that age where everyone's just
really annoying.
having babies and getting
married.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I don't know, but you would assume. I think for you, like a week surely isn't crazy.
Oh yeah. I think it'll be fine. The only one for me that gets difficult is like around the long weekends is when it's like last year, the Labor Day long weekend was our busiest weekend, and then the July 1st, 4th that week, obviously. So it's just like anything around those is just not that feasible, and I kind of just feel bad, especially since we're not huge. It's kind of nice to be around, make sure I'm available. And it's not like Toronto's that far, I can fly there and back for an extended, like if I can do it in a 3-day weekend pretty much. A bit hectic, but
yeah. Well, I mean, I did the same, and again, the UK's. It's honestly not. It's even not really that bad. Like, it was a pain in the ass but I mean, it's still a direct flight.
I was about to say direct from Calgary.
Yeah, I mean, one was in Scotland and one was in London, but they were both like. I flew there and I was straight to the place.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, so it wasn't like I was like there and then driving multiple hours to get anywhere. I was kind of like, it was pretty sweet. But yeah, just I'm also not a massive drinker as well. Like I do enjoy a drink, but I say that just to say that like gone are the days of me drinking like 5 days in a row.
Yeah.
That was the first time I've been home since I've been here.
Really?
Yeah.
And you went twice in it?
And I went twice. I know they were like fucking sick. Like they were like desperate for me to go, and they're like, "This cunt's back again."
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How long is that? How long have you been here before? Like, how long have you been here up until now? I guess
5 years.
You've been here 5 years.
Just under. October would be exactly 5 if I was being.
Okay, yeah.
Have you been the same time?
I'm November would be my 5th then. Like,
I'll
be 5 in November.
Yeah, no, so I'm like right at the end of October, so it'll be the exact same.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that is wild. Yeah, because I remember, I think the first time I would have seen you would be like you were running, coincidentally, because that's what I was going to ask you about. But did you run before you came to Banff? Were you a runner, or did you come to Banff and you're like,
not really. I ran when I was in elementary school, I ran cross country, but I was never good at cross country. I just did it to get out of school and go socialize. I ran track and field a little bit in high school, but same thing, just did it for fun. Stopped doing it because my high school didn't allow us to do 2 sports in one semester. And I picked ultimate frisbee instead of track and field because all my friends played ultimate frisbee, and we actually had a relatively good ultimate frisbee team, and I wasn't that good at track and field. And then I didn't really run at all. I started going to the gym from the time of like high school all the way through university. Was pretty obsessed with going to the gym. I was like way bigger than I am now. Like I'm pretty thin now. I was probably like more thicker like you.
I don't think
you're looking strong.
Yeah.
I did that. I was probably like 20 pounds heavier than I am now.
Oh, wow.
And just like much stronger. I kind of like still will go and lift occasionally when I'm training. And I'm like, I just cannot do anything anymore. It's like it was such a long time ago now, but I still will go and do like a deadlift and be like, whoa, I don't know how I was ever able to lift that much. But then COVID happened. So I was like continuously working out until COVID. COVID happened. All I was doing was like basically drinking at home with friends on FaceTime.
Yeah.
Which I was still doing in university, but the gym was like almost conducive to that. Like I could still go to the gym, whereas I found now with endurance stuff, when I'm drinking, I find it really hard to do the workout the next day. But going back to it, I basically was just on FaceTime with friends, not doing anything. And I was like, this is just not what I want to be doing. So I just signed up for a half Ironman in upstate New York, which I didn't actually even end up doing, but I signed up for it. And that was just like, okay, let's start training. Got a bike, started running, started swimming. And swimming, I actually didn't do the one in Musselman, which was the one that I signed up for, because I had moved here in that time frame, and I was like, it was still COVID. I didn't know if I'd be able to cross the border, so they let me swap it to do Calgary, and then they let me opt out of the swim because they were like, all the pools have been closed, so you can't do it, which is perfect for me because I swim terribly. Yeah. Got into that, did the bike run, not particularly quick at all, but was nice to get out there. And I think since then I've kind of been like, I was semi into doing stuff, and then my last marathon block was probably like the most dedicated I'd been to actually trying to race.
Yeah. So you qualified for Boston.
I qualified it's essentially a year ago not today, like a year ago, in the beginning of May, I think it was like May 5th or something. I ran the Toronto Marathon a year ago, and the intention when I was training for that last year, the whole intention was to qualify for Boston. I didn't really know. I always use this in my anecdote. It's kind of weird because I look back at when I first moved here, I was chatting with a friend and I was like, the times that you need to get into Boston are just like inconceivable to me. And then I thought about it again while I was running and crossing the finish line in Boston. I was like, I can't believe there was a point in my life where I thought just getting here is impossible. And now I'm like even quicker than that. I don't know, it was a crazy how your mind shifts with what you're capable of doing. Cause I just thought it was like not something people could do, which obviously, I mean, people were doing it, but I was like, I'll never be able to do that.
Yeah, I was the exact same. I remember the first time I ever did a half marathon, I remember it blew my mind that I was like, people run double this.
Yeah.
I just was like, could not fathom that people ran marathons. You know, I was just like, but yeah, you do it and then you're
like, this is possible.
But then I think it's so like, what made you, going from like having no belief that you could do it, like what made you still try for it then? Were you just like, well, I might as well try it, or were you like, maybe I can do that?
Well, I think so. I had run a marathon prior to that, but it was kind of the same thing. It was just during COVID. A friend of mine was like, we can do the Toronto virtual marathon. Neither of us had any experience doing any training. We didn't really know what we were doing at all. And we just got together, ran around Toronto, ran 42.2K or whatever. And
what was your time?
It was 4 hours and 10 seconds.
That's
so it was
not bad.
Yeah, it was just like just over 4 hours. No aid stations. We didn't have enough nutrition. My friend was like running too quick in the beginning that we were just running together. And I was like, we're going way too quick. We're gonna blow up. And we both just blew up. No water. So it just like was a bit of I was like, as long as I got under 4 hours, I'll be happy. And I missed that by like 10 seconds. So that's when I was like, okay, I would like to go a bit faster than that. I don't know how anybody goes faster than that. Because I remember sitting at at Lake Ontario, right where the airport is in downtown Toronto, like the city airport, and I was like, I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to run again because I was in so much pain. I think just poor nutrition, no water, and my body was shutting down. And then eventually, I guess I did do it again. And the next time I did it, when I signed up for Toronto, I have a friend who you probably haven't met before, but he lived out here with me when I first moved out here. And he worked with a guy when we were all first moving here. When we all first moved here, we were working like remotely. So we'd all kind of get to know each other's bosses and colleagues because we were all in the house together, and we were in a really small, probably a house literally the size of this for 4 of us, and it had a kitchen. It was like
room.
Yeah, we literally couldn't even open the fridge when all of us were working and our desks were set up. It was nuts.
Yeah.
But we got to know each other's like colleagues, and there was a guy there whose name is also Jesse, and he was a really quick marathon runner, and he kind of was like, "You're never gonna be able to even do this."
He said that.
He said long story short, he actually became my coach last year.
Oh wow!
Because he was like, you know, I bet you couldn't even run 20K in a week. And then eventually I kind of got to the mindset that I did want to try and qualify for Boston. And then last winter, him and I would like chat here and there, and I'd be like, I think I want to do it. I don't know that much about creating a program. Like, would you do it with me? I knew that he kind of wanted to get into a little bit of coaching, and he offered to coach me for free. And he just said, as long as you give me everything you got, I will coach you for free. And I'm happy to continue doing that. And then, yeah, I had never even met him until the Toronto Marathon last year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was cool. He was great. I had like tons of kudos to him because I didn't know how to structure a workout program. Like I didn't know how to have like a 16-week block or a 12-week block. I just didn't know how to do it. And he just gave me all the structure. He was a little bit hands-off because it was like, he wouldn't even give me the full 16 weeks. He'd be like, hey, this is this week. I don't want you to even think about the next week. Like, you need to do these workouts. You need to do this. And then we'd chat like every weekend, every few weekends, like, how did these workouts feel? Do you feel good? And I think with that one, I kind of realized that we had set the goal just to qualify for Boston, which was a 2:55 was kind of what we thought.
Which is fast.
Yeah, which is exactly as fast. It was like way faster than I'd ever gone.
Yeah.
So I looked at that, but even during the whole training program, I was feeling pretty strong. So I was like, I think I can go faster than that. But he was like, don't go faster. But then on the day I ran 2:49. So I like qualified with tons of time. But made the PBing again this time a little bit harder.
Yeah, that's cool though. So yeah, I guess I wonder if he didn't want to do like the weeks ahead, because if he was also like kind of like a slightly inexperienced with being a coach.
Yeah.
Like, right, let's see how this gets on. Because if you're like, I blew up, then you're screaming like, right, forget about that.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was a bit of just like, if I had found a workout hard and seen like a more difficult workout next week, I'd be like, holy shit, I don't think I could possibly do this. Where I think he was like holding it back for somebody that's never done a program before.
Yeah, because I remember when I did the Ironman, I didn't have a coach, and I just Googled 6 month training plan, and I like downloaded whatever one I found online. And I remember doing that. I remember looking like months and months down the line, and it would be like, I'd be making it up now, but it'd be like run for an hour and a half, or like, maybe like run an hour and a half and then like cycle for like 7 hours.
Yeah.
And I've been like, what the fuck?
I know.
I honestly remember being like, there's no way I could do that. But again, I was just like, well, what's tomorrow? And tomorrow's like, like run 5K, cycle half an hour. So I was like, right, cool.
I can do that.
But I don't know if you found this, but the cool thing I found with that though was because like, see, when you've never done anything like that, it got to a point in the training where like every week was like a PB.
100%.
Not necessarily like we're paid the how fast I was doing it, but like the distance. I was like, I've never done that before. So each week was like a small kind of like win. Yeah. It kind of keeps you going because you're like, oh, I've just done this. I've just done the fastest or the longest thing I've ever done.
I found that I was like literally in earlier training, I'd be like, oh, I'm so much faster now. Whereas this past training block that I did, I know that like running quick isn't the object until the race day or like certain workouts. So I would literally be like, oh, I'm PBing because I'm running at this pace with a way lower heart rate than I've ever run at. So that's where I was really seeing progress. I'm like running at like 4:45 at a heart rate that my previous block was like a 5:25. Yeah. So I was like, whoa, I'm just getting pace for equal amount of energy. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I'm doing the exact same with swimming just now. Like,
you must be feeling that so much at the swimming, right?
Yeah, but exactly what you just said there though, where like I don't feel like I'm going, like now the days where I'm like, I swam just before this, like when I'm cruising and I'm kind of like tired, that pace was now the pace that when I was like gassing it and like going as fast as I could. But probably similar to you, it was just all technique. Like once I dialed in all the like right technique and this and that, like you're just so much more efficient. So yeah, like now it's kind of like nice to be like, oh well, like I'm not actually gassing. And but then it's kind of, I don't know if you had this as well. Like I think to myself, I'm like, right, how does this equate to like the race though? Yeah. So I'm like, how does like, I feel good doing this, but then like so when you did the race, how did you feel?
It was weird.
Was it obviously like super busy?
It was so busy. Yeah. So many people. I think just strictly race though. Like when I ran Toronto last year, my first half marathon, I literally felt in such good shape. Like it felt so easy. And the back half was like, not as bad, but I actually didn't feel too bad in that one at all. In Boston, I think like 10 kilometers in, I kind of felt, holy fuck, I'm going like fast and I'm feeling it already. And I literally remember at like kilometer 10 or 11 being like, I actually don't know if I can do this. Like, I don't think I can push this pace the whole way. Because I think I was thinking about Toronto as well, being like, at this point last year, I felt so breezy. And here I'm like feeling like I'm struggling a little bit. But then I kind of like, settle in. It's still 10K in, but like I settled in a little bit more and was like, okay, just relax, just keep pushing. You know what the goals are. Just if you fall apart, you fall apart. I didn't really care that much about qualifying for anything on this one. I was like, I just want to push. But yeah, no, it is an interesting feeling that like you can be in one race and you feel fine. And this one, like you're saying, like all my workouts, you definitely have the ups and downs, but there are certain workouts where I'm like, I'm going to absolutely nail this. I thought I was going to go way faster than I did even on race day. And then you do some workouts and you're like, okay, I'm like completely fucked. I'm not going to be able to do this. Yeah.
I think I said to you a few weeks ago in the gym where like I was trying to like think, I'm kind of at that point still where like I'm trying to like dial my nutrition in a bit better. Cause like I think I'd done a week where I was just like, I was just exhausted. It wasn't like it wasn't that anything was like particularly painful or anything like that. I was just like, I was just tired. And then I think it was just a lack of, I think my training has now got to that point where like I can't just eat what I'm eating. Like I need to consciously be like, add in extra calories and yeah, I think as well with like the races, like it's funny. I always assume I'm going to have a low point. I just like go in with the mentality, like even when I'm doing like little bits, like training days, where I'm just like, at some point today, you're going to be like, this sucks. and then just know that, because you kind of trick yourself into it where you're like, right, I know, well, and then when it comes, the moment, you're just like, right, cool.
Yeah, I knew this was coming.
This sucks, but
Yeah.
I knew this was coming. So then, and then like 30 minutes later or however many K later you settle into it, you're like, oh, sweet, actually, no, I feel.
Yeah, it just passes. You're just
Yeah.
like, okay, that was a past thought. I agree. That going in with that mindset is huge.
And how was Boston as an event? Like, because my mom and dad, they did New York and they said it was like the best thing they've ever done.
It was crazy.
Yeah,
one
the
of the
crowd was
coolest,
wild.
like one of the coolest things I've ever been a part of. I went into it, I would say like the week before, I was watching all these hype videos and I was crying watching these videos because I was like so excited to be there. Because people kept asking like, "Are you nervous?" And I was like, I mean, I'm not a pro athlete. I'm not nervous at any way. Like, I'd like to do well, but I'm not nervous to be there. But I was just like excited, and I think I knew that I'd been working towards that one goal for, call it like 14 or 15 months. So I was like literally crying the week before. I think it's because I wasn't running. I was tapering, so I was like, I have so much free time and energy. I'll just cry. But then I got there, and it's unbelievable how many people there were. Even just arriving in the morning, like I woke up at 5 at the hotel. Every hotel was like kitted out for Boston runners. They open up the breakfast early. You get down to the main area, like in Boston Commons, and there's just crowds of people because the people that are supposed to be in the later waves are still just there early because they want to get up there. But like you wake up at 5, I'm down there at 6:45. I'm on a bus at 7:15 or 7:30. Bus up to the start point. I'm only up there at about 8:30, and then you literally sit tight until 9:15, 9:30. Again, just crowds of people everywhere. And you don't even get going until like, I think like technically it was across the line at 10:02. So 5 hours and 2 minutes later than when I woke up.
Yeah.
And I find that usually if I'm doing any workout, like if I'm doing it right away in the morning, I'll wake up, eat, give myself like 40 minutes and then I'm running. So it's like max an hour and a half before I'm like waking up and running. This is wake up 5+ hours. I think the hardest part was even just how much do I eat on the bus? How much do I eat before I get there? What do I do with this hour of spare time while I'm there? But yeah, then you get into the lines and the corrals, and you can see like so many people you speak to, it's their first Boston. Everybody's kind of worked towards this. Everybody was just so excited. There's so much energy. I think it was funny. We were crossing over to the start line and we all thought we had crossed the start line. So we all started running and then realized that we hadn't crossed the start line. So we stopped again and then actually crossed the start line. But I thought we would kind of spread. But even by the time we like all the way up until kilometer 42, like there was literally people with you constantly, people around you. There were people like on the sidelines cheering you on. The houses that are over there, like by the start line, they're kind of like tailgating like a college football game. Like they have their barbecues out. Everybody's there. They've got their USA flag and the Boston Strong flag just cheering. It was just cool. Just every corner is a different vibe, but they just literally want you to do well. A vivid memory as well was I was running probably at like kilometer 25 or 26 and some lady shouted like, "Go Gavin." And I was like, how the fuck did she know my name? Fast forward like 3 hours, I'm chatting with my parents and they're like, "Oh, we met this lady on the bus. She added you on her tracker so that when she was cheering for her husband, she would cheer for you as well."
Oh, wow, that's nice.
And there's just like people cheering. There's so many kids who want high fives. Yeah, just like so much energy. I think I read that it was about 500,000 fans that were cheering on the sidelines. So it's like between the 500,000 fans, 30,000 of us running. There's
30,000?
Yeah, 30,000 people running. And yeah, just people everywhere. It's kind of, I don't want to say overwhelming because I personally get a lot of energy from stuff like that. But I think for some people you could see they were like, "Oh, there's like too many people around." It kind of stresses them and probably brought the heart rate up a little bit. But overall, I was just excited to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And see with the, bit of a negative question, but see with that, like, was there any, obviously there was that bombing, like, quite, like, I can't even remember when, like.
Yeah, I think it was 2012.
2012, yeah.
Every single person asked me, like,
joke
about the bomb,
But is there any, like, nervousness? Because I remember, like, I guess you could get that with any event. So, like, just because it's happened at Boston doesn't mean it's going to strike twice. But
I mean,
are you just like you're probably
I don't care. I'm kind of
you're like,
the
if
same.
it's my time, it goes.
Exactly. That's literally it's like I'm at this point. Like, there's literally nothing I can.
I will
do.
die for this race.
I did think you do think about it quite a lot because, like, one, you would see people on rooftops, like military on rooftops. They did a flyover. Obviously, that's more just like ceremonial flyover. But there's like there's military around. When I picked up my bib, they give you like a clear bag, and there's a clear kind of drawstring bag and then a clear plastic bag. You're not allowed to bring anything with you to the start line that is not in that clear bag.
Right, okay, yeah.
But sorry, there's a clear bag that you leave at the end. That's your drop bag. And then the little plastic bag is all you're allowed to bring with you. You're not allowed to bring any bags. And nobody other than athletes is allowed. It basically all starts at a high school. It's called like Hopkinton High School or something. And the buses drive you there. There's essentially a perimeter. And nobody except for athletes is allowed in Athletes Village. So everybody in there has only got this like clear bag, and then everybody's got their stuff that they brought with them in the bag, and they leave a lot of stuff there. But basically, in there's literally nothing. But you see it when you're doing the course, because when you get to the very, very end, there's like tons of people, and then the last like few hundred meters is essentially cordoned off. There's like no people, and it's just like barricades until you get to the finish line, basically.
Right, okay.
There's like a stand area. I think that's more just like for watching the pros, because it wasn't even that busy when I got there at literally the very finish. Just kind of a weird one that's like, it's so busy the whole way, and then the last few hundred meters, it's really loud because there's so many people behind you cheering, and they have like the person who's calling you in through the
Did they see Gavin?
I don't think so, because I'm crossing the line with like quite a few people, which was like, it would have been nice to have that, but there's just so many people coming through. But you kind of get the vibe. One, like I said before, I don't care. Like, I can't do anything about this. Two, it's, it is kind of, you can see it. It's kind of sad, but the almost positive out of it is the community apparently has become so strong and behind, like they've gotten behind the race since that point. So every building they have like these like daisies that they'll put into the windowsills, and they line the streets with daisies to remember the bombing. So it's like Boston Strong everywhere. Every flag along the thing says Boston Strong. So it's just cool. Like they care about it so much. I think that it's sad to say, but like that adds to why they care about it so much. They're like, we can overcome this thing. But no, it's just, I don't think about it. It's the same as like when I get on a plane, It's like,
I know. It's kind of like
out of my control.
Yeah, and it's also like, I mean, I kind of obviously was asking the question because it's happened before, but you could literally do that at any, like I'm going to a festival in Calgary, like it could be, or like Stampede.
Yeah,
or
100%.
Yeah, name anything where there's a lot of people, and you could be like, you kind of have that. You can't live your life.
I literally, that's my thing with that is like,
fear.
I would never let that impact how I do things, just because otherwise you're just always going to be living scared and uncomfortable. I'm like, it happens, not really my place.
And I think with Boston as well, it must be quite a unique race, because like your average Joe can't do it. Like everyone, I know obviously there's different age brackets, so everyone has like kind of different times that they need to get into it, but like everyone must be pretty fit.
Yeah,
like 30,000 like pretty fit people. Like
this is my hot take of the of the week, but you can get in with a charity bib.
Oh, okay.
So that is annoying for like actually qualifying. But they raise a ton of money, so it's good for them. But like I'm running and I'm like, oh, fuck these people who are showing up with a charity bib. Because I mean, like basically everyone in my wave, because they basically just organize you from the fastest person to the charity bib runners towards the end typically. And I had bib like 3,700, which means that I probably qualified 3,700th.
Right, okay.
Finished much higher than that because I knew
out of 30,000 people.
Exactly.
That's amazing.
And then I ended up at like 1,000. So they kind of like say that you outplaced your bib. Like if you're finishing higher than your bib number, you've probably placed better than what, like you would have placed better than what you qualified. So
that's amazing.
Yeah. So it's like technically, I mean, if every single person goes back next year, I'd have the bib number 1,000. But
and because you ran it, do you still need to qualify?
Still need to qualify, but like my time, they haven't posted it. My time will be probably an automatic qualifier for next year.
Right. Okay. How come they've not posted it yet? They just haven't.
They just do it later, and they just have like a date that they basically post the qualifying times, and the qualifying times don't even matter. Like when they posted the one for my year, they said 3 hours, but it actually effectively became like 2 hours and 55 minutes.
Yeah,
give or take.
That 5 minutes means
it's huge.
Means a lot.
Huge. Yeah, 100%. So that's why I was like, I mean, it would be crazy for me to not qualify for the next year because like I PB'd on that time by like 6.5 minutes. So they would have to have a really strong class.
Are you want to do it again next year?
I don't think I'll do it again next year.
Are you kind of like one and done, or are you more like what? See with Boston as well, like what is the like? So I've been into running, but Boston seems to be the one that everyone wants to do. Especially, I think maybe we're just at that age where everyone I now know is like actually able to qualify and running. Yeah. But everyone I know is like, I got made back home that done it. You done it. I think, did Jesse do it? Yeah, Jesse did it a while ago.
I'm faster than him when he did it. That's all that I care about. No, I want to beat him outright, but right now I'll take
just sign up for
my small win. I'll take for now.
You need to get the half marathon, Banff.
Maybe. I don't know if I could get it this year, but maybe. I think I'd have to. I haven't really been training that much since Boston. I've been running a decent amount, but not like crazy. But no, I think Boston's one, because it's one of the majors, like the world majors. So that's a big part of it. So people want to do that. Two, from my understanding, it's the oldest marathon, like organized marathon in the world.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So that's why it has like the lore behind it.
Is that the one that was the first lady that ever ran it as well? Maybe there's like a famous woman who like she tried to run and the guys were
exactly. They kicked her out. She did. Yeah, she like dressed up as a guy or something and ran it. And then
that was at Boston.
I believe so. But yeah, I think that's.
It's got.
I think it's one of those things that also just like a snowball effect. Like, I don't really care if it was the oldest marathon, but like you're saying, like everybody talks about. I want to get to Boston. There's like a website that I've been using to try and find the next marathon that I want to do. And it's just like called marathonfinder.com or something. And next to every single marathon, it says like percentage of Boston qualifiers for that marathon to basically be like, if we have a lot of high percentage, like it's probably a quick race they come and do. But everybody's goal is to get to Boston.
Yeah, no, so it definitely feels that way.
It did feel special, like my first race that I did to get in, because you're sitting around, you hear these people chatting, they're like, oh, I've tried like 7 different times to get in. So, ego-wise, it feels pretty good. I'm like, I did it because I set my mind to doing it and I wanted to get there.
So you did Toronto, qualified, going to Boston?
Yeah.
And those are the 2 marathons you've done?
And the virtual one, I don't think would have ever been, would count anyway.
But the
goal wasn't to go to Boston at that point. I didn't really know what I was doing at that point. I just was doing stuff. But no, that was last year was like, I want to go to Boston. How do I get there?
So what is the goal now then?
It's a good question.
How you did Boston not that long ago?
Yeah, it was a month ago.
So you're still in that kind of thing where you're like thinking about, you're still like coming down from the Boston. Not coming down, but you've done this goal that you've wanted to do for ages, and now you're just like, right, cool, I've trained enough that I can chill for
it. I will say I was disappointed that I wasn't happier at the end of Boston.
Yeah, sorry, what task?
Yeah, because I was like, I was thrilled to have done it, and I PB'd by quite a lot, but I thought that I would have PB'd by more. So I literally crossed the line. I knew basically 10 kilometers before the end of the race, or like call it 7 or 8 kilometers before the end of the race, that I almost certainly wasn't going to get like my first goal, which was sub 240. So I crossed the line, jubilation, pretty stoked to be there, everybody's in great mood. But I pretty quickly on the come down was like, okay, like what race can I do next to try and actually get that sub 240?
Yeah.
I'd say more in the cooling off period now. I've just been trying to figure out what I'm going to do. I haven't done 100K, so I'm like, you've done some long stuff. I was thinking about doing that for the end of the season at some point.
Well, they've got that Canmore Grizzly Ultra. Have you done that?
No.
Oh, yeah. That's pretty sweet. That's like a really, obviously Max did that last summer.
Yeah.
That's like, that's a really cool event.
Yeah.
Like, because it's also like the stage at the Nordic Centre, and then it's like laps. So it's not like 150K loop where you just don't see anyone for the whole, you're like, I think there's like 6 or 8 laps where you go out, you come back. So it's kind of like you're in this constant, you kind of constantly come into a crowd, which is pretty cool. And it seems pretty chill. Like there was definitely some people that, I remember there was a guy who'd he ran like 10K, but mate, it was like in like 30 something minutes. Like it was on
the 50K?
For the under 50.
Oh my God.
Well, this is where I actually didn't know, because there was also relay teams.
Oh, true.
So I didn't know whether this guy was part of a relay team, and I don't think he was, because he came in and went back out. And I think I assumed that if he was in a relay, he wouldn't be going back out. But anyway, he ran it, and I was just like,
you're going fast.
I remember people around me were like, this guy can't be like, he must be like out for a run. But now he like came in, got his whatever he did, and then just fucked straight.
Yeah, no, I'd like to, because I've done distance wise, it'd be cool to do an 100K, because I've done the 50 miles. It'd be cool to get like the.
Yeah. Oh, have you?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. 50K would be sweet then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 50K would be easy. Yeah. I remember the reason I was wanting to ask you how you felt when you crossed the line though was because I was kind of the same. I remember when I was doing the Ironman, maybe similar to you in the week before it. Granted, I was more like this months before it, where I would I would tear up at like the thought of like, I would like imagine crossing the finish line. I know that sounds pretty lame, but I'd imagine it, and I'd honestly like tear up. I'd be like, because at that point in my life, similar to you maybe, where I was just like, I never thought I could do anything like that. And I was like, imagine I can do this thing. But then when I crossed the line, it was very anticlimactic. But I think also it was because at that point in time, it was like 10:30 in the day. And the announcer, because obviously there's less people, the announcer I think had said to like 500 plus people before me, Gavin, you're an Iron Man, and just like constantly said it. By the time I crossed
He's
at
like,
10:30 at night,
rich.
he's like, oh, wait, there's someone still here. But yeah, yeah. So you're kind of in between like goals of like, don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
Are you interested in like the distance? Or are you more interested in the speed? I feel like this.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, I feel like people sometimes, not as simple as this, but do fall into a category of like people are really into marathons and they want to go faster, or people are like, I want to go far, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like I think there was a point where I'm like, a goal of mine would be to do like I've done a few ultras, like I've done a few like multi-day stage races, like the Golden Ultra, which is pretty sweet. The big day on that one is 60K and like 2,500 or 3,000 meters of vert. So I was kind of like, I've done a 60K. I want to do a 50 mile, which I did. I've done two. One I actually didn't do. I guess I pulled out of because of a knee injury. And then that same year, I literally left. I went down to Crow's Nest Pass to go do the Sinister 50 mile and pulled out at like kilometer 35, I think it was. And I was really upset because I was like, you know, you put so much time into doing these kind of things. And you kind of, I mean, a bit of me is like, oh, so much time training. That training was a little bit more casual because I was just like running with friends in the forest and, you know, just trail running. So it's like, was it really like that much of a loss? Not really. But I was pretty determined from that point. I'm like, okay, well, I will find a 50 mile. So I literally just went on the internet and I was like, what 50 mile can I do in November? And I found one in Oregon. Brought my roommate. We just drove down to Oregon and I did the 50 mile down there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was sweet. Really cool race. There was a few things I didn't like about the race. Like there was some single track where we were running opposite directions to somebody doing a different race, but it was cool. The regret was that I slept in my car. So I finished the race and slept in my car that same night and my body was in shambles. But yeah, so I did that. As soon as I did the 50 mile, I'm like, I'd like to do an 100K. I'd like to do a 100 mile at some point. But at the same time, you know, I know that to run quicker in a marathon, like I should probably put more speed work in over like the whole course of a year.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I don't know. I'd like to run a quicker marathon by the end of this year, but I also would like to do 100K. So I'm kind of debating if I can do both or simultaneously train for them, or at least have enough of a gap that like the base from the 100Ks gives me a ton of aerobic fitness for the marathon.
Yeah, I think as well, like, evidently not a doctor, but I have heard things where like your body kind of like, and I'm very simplifying the process here, where like it kind of tunes itself to like your muscles will actually tune themselves to like long, like endurance running or endurance, whatever the thing is, endurance necessity, and or it will have like fast twitch muscles, and it's kind of like you obviously are people that can balance both, but I think the school of thought is that you kind of like train one or train the other.
100%.
Yeah,
and that's kind of why I'm like a little bit hesitant to even do the 100 within this year, but it is a goal that I've had for a while. So it's like, which goal do I care about more? I even thought about going way shorter. I'm thinking about running like a 5K race in a few weeks. I'd love to just do some like competing at 5K, 10K races. They just tend to be a little bit less competitive. 10K is pretty competitive, but the 5K I looked at, I was like, I should be able to win this race, which means it's probably not the most competitive race in the world.
Nah, obviously you're just good. But I know in the UK, like running's massive. Like, I mean, it was big when I was a kid, but like now, like all my mates who like never ran in their lives are like doing like 5K, like 19-minute 5Ks. And I'm just, I think the UK, maybe also because it's such a small place, like it doesn't take a lot for like one thing to kind of grip the nation. And running definitely everyone seems to be running, or maybe it's just also everyone's trying to like be healthy and stuff at our age. But
yeah, I mean, you've had some strong runners from the UK.
Yeah, definitely.
10K guy whose name I'm forgetting, Mo Farah.
Mo Farah, yeah.
He's pretty
yeah,
damn quick.
No. Yeah, I think I remember, I did track when I was a kid, and I remember, like, it's funny you were saying about that Jesse guy who's now your coach and super supportive, but there was a point where he said you couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I remember like being a little kid, and I remember it was before the 2012, which I think was London Olympics, and the reason I remember that is because I got 2012 on the back of like my track spikes.
Yeah.
Like, because I was like, I'm going to be in the Olympics.
I'm going to get there.
And I remember, I was in my grand's house, and she had like, I think it was like someone I'm related to, but like distant, this old lady though that was there, and I remember like chatting about it, and she was just like, you'll never do it. And I remember, even now I'm just like, and she's right, to be fair, but at the same time I was like, that's so harsh to like
Yeah.
a little kid. Like, just I remember it to this day. Her just be like, "You'll never do it." And I remember, just lie.
Yeah, literally, just
Lie
lie. I had
to
the
me.
same thing with my
Lie to me.
grandfather when he came to visit us in Canada, and I went golfing. Me, I guess my grandfather, myself, my two cousins who are also his grandkids, and we all went golfing together. And I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna like I birdied this hole like yesterday because I played the day before." And he was like, "There's no way you're not good enough to do that." And I was like, "Okay, you my fucking granddad. You're supposed to be like you can do anything."
Yeah,
So I remember that pretty vividly. It's kind of sad, to be honest. And
I
then he
know.
left, and it was a bad trip in general because he, I think, was not that friendly with me, not that friendly with my other two
Oh god.
cousins, and he left kind of a sour taste. I was lucky that before I moved to Canada, we had a really good relationship, but I was really young at that point. But it's like, unfortunately, that was like the lasting effect was being like, you can't golf, like,
I
fuck
know.
you.
It's funny as well how you remember those.
100%.
Yeah, as I say, this woman, like, she is definitely related to me, but I don't even know how. Like, she's like my dad's cousins, like something like not even that close because I actually know my dad's cousins. But yeah, it's funny how I'm 31 now. She would have said this to me. Yeah, I mean, like, let's just say 2010, like, so 15 years ago, and I still remember it to this day.
Well, it's like, I feel like all those things, as much as it's like, oh, don't say that, but it's like, you remember it. It's like a motivating thing. I think a lot of people hear that kind of stuff and they're like, this is a motivating thing. Like I think one of the reasons I wanted to run even as quick as I did last time was because I knew my uncle had run a very quick marathon in his day, like at 3 hours and 2 minutes when he was a teenager. And I was like, I need to run faster than my uncle. And he was like, you can't run faster than me. So I did. So it's just like stuff like that. I think it kind of motivates you a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Maybe I would have made it in Olympics.
Exactly.
Yeah. But no, I think it's funny. Yeah, it's also like a little bit sad. Where like, yeah, I've had relations with like relatives as well. Where like, yeah, I guess when you don't see them that often as well, and then you have a bad experience, you can't. I feel like I try and be like, don't like judge them for that moment, but you're like, you can't help but kind of be like cling on to it a little bit, and it does ruin it when you don't see them all the time, and you can't then have better.
100%. It's like with my uncle. That's why I don't take that one badly because we like friends. Like I see him all the time. He can say that, and I can see him the next time and be like, I beat you, which I did do. And he was like so stoked that I had beaten him. He then followed up because he was like a world champion kayaker. Oh, wow. So he kind of followed up and he was like, that was my secondary sport anyways. I didn't care about it. That was why I was like, okay, I got to go faster again. But yeah, it's when you don't actually have the continual relationship with that person, when they say something like that, you just remember it and it kind of sticks, unfortunately.
Yeah, like my two sisters have both just had babies, and I'm like, even before we had this conversation, I was like, as soon as they can start to understand me, I'm going to be like, you can do whatever you want. Genuinely, I'm just I'm going to like force it into their mind and be like, you can do whatever you want to do. You know what I mean? Because I think like now that you get older and you have your own life and stuff like that, and you educate yourself on, like mentalities and positivity and all that stuff, and you're like, if you drill that into like a little kid, like just someone constantly saying that to you, you can be wherever you want to be. But I do remember, random tangent here, but I do remember like reading about Justin Bieber where someone was making a comment on him and they were saying how, imagine being Justin Bieber, you're like a young teenage boy, and then your whole life, like 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, every year everyone's like, you're the best, like you're the best, you're the best, you're the best. You get to 18 and then he starts saying it, and everyone's like, "Whoa,
relax."
like they're like being way too arrogant." And it's like, if some people, but I guess it's the same point, but maybe a little bit of a negative thing on it is like, someone like tells you something constantly, like you're eventually going to believe it.
100%.
So that's why we're like, I remember I drunkenly was like messaging my sisters, you got a group chat, and I was like, messaging me like, I'm gonna tell your kids that they can be whatever they want to be. I was like real like drunk and like emotional.
All over the place, yeah.
And I woke up and they were like, I think, they actually took it pretty sweet. They were like, oh, that's amazing. But like I reread it the morning after and I was like, cringe. And me just like emotionally dumping on them.
One day you'll get to show the kids and be like, this is what I thought of you at that point.
But yeah, I think, or even like, I guess like an influence. Do you find that it's been an influence living in Banff when you're like running? Like,
for sure. You're literally surrounded by people that are strong athletes.
Yeah, like running, like if you like running 5K back home, I would say is like everyone's like, wow, that's like amazing, and it is amazing even here.
Yeah,
but like you talk to people and you're like, or anyone really, and you're like, oh, I just like ran like 20K, and they're like, yeah, 100K.
Well, like I go on my Strava and I see these people that I'm friends with out here, and it's like they do 20K with 500 meters of elevation every single day.
Yeah.
And like guys that have done like 200-mile races, 250-mile races, and people who are running like the quickest marathons I've ever seen. It's like sometimes I think that was also a little bit. It took me a while to be like. I constantly was like, okay, how can I be like the best at this? And it's just like some of these things, maybe I can't, or maybe this is the same thought as when I in the beginning said, I didn't think I could ever get a Boston time, and it's like, okay, then I did. But some of these things, I'm like, okay, like these people are they're all in here.
Yeah, I mean, like I definitely have the mindset that anyone can do anything, but there is obvious like. So I'm 5'9", right?
Yeah.
But my swimming coach is like fucking 6 foot. Must be like 6'3", 4, if not 5. And I'm like, his hands are bigger, his feet are bigger. So my point is like, yeah, I can do it, but like he has physical advantages. Doesn't mean that I think there may be people where like, Jesse's taller than us, probably has a longer stride.
I'll beat him.
You're gonna beat him anyway.
I'll beat him.
You're just your little legs will just be like turning over.
But with the swimming, okay, is there an advantage to being bigger in a long distance race?
I would say, I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah. Just because I think it's similar with running, like, so, running's your stride, but like swimming would be your strokes bigger.
Yeah.
You're able to like go, yeah, I would assume so, yeah. I don't know the exact science of it, but.
Yeah, because I mean, with the running one, weight, I guess, is weight and stride length. But I mean, literally how fast you're going is just like stride length times like how quickly you're turning over, right? So
yeah, and I think with the swimming as well, like it's kind of weird because with the one I'm doing, because it's so long distance, there's also like there's a thought between being lean and doing it fast, but maybe having a little bit of weight to like account for the cold.
Yeah,
and doing it not like slow, but doing it slower.
Yeah,
and there's like this balance of like. So the guy Christopher that I was chatting to like last week about his experience with the channel swim, he was saying how there was a woman in their group who wasn't slim, right?
Yeah.
And he was like, because he struggled with the cold, and he was like, this woman, sorry, she was like, she didn't have an issue with it whatsoever. And like he showed me a video, and she was just she just wasn't slim.
Yeah, she was just like thicker, but cruising through that water, just
so it's like
stroke after stroke, not feeling the cold, feeling good.
So there's that thing of like, but then then it's more weight though, so it's kind of like this weird. Whereas with running, you just want to, you're like, what would be I can't imagine any advantage to having fat on you.
No, I mean, I got really into this a little bit because the beginning of my training, I was like, I want to lose a ton of weight. I want to be racing at 100.
You're super lean though.
I'm pretty lean. I'm not like crazy lean. Like I think I carry a little bit on my top half, and my ass is a little bit bigger than some people. I think I carry some weight there, unfortunately, for like this.
Some people might like that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm hoping that people I'll show people on the camera later.
Yeah.
But I think that like one, it helps with power. But then the second in the beginning, I wanted to lose weight because I was like, less weight means I can run faster. But then I got into I was reading a lot about the Norwegian triathletes and stuff, and there's like the coach Olav Alexander Boo, I think is his name, and I was listening to a podcast about it where they were talking about like the weight trade-off versus like just the power that they're able to generate, and he was like, for our athletes, they don't look like they're the best athletes in the world, and he coaches like the best triathlete in the world, Christian Blumenfeld or whatever his name is. And he's like, you look at him and he's like, he looks like a good athlete, but he doesn't look like the most lean cut person, because he's like, this guy eating more and is like slightly bigger, he just generates so much more power at that point versus being a little bit slimmer. The trade-off, he loses the power. The power that he would gain from losing the weight is less than the amount of power that makes up for the weight that he currently is. So then I kind of was like looking at that, and I tried experimenting with eating a little bit less, and I just found that I was constantly hungry. Yeah. And then my every workout just felt terrible because I felt hungry. So then I was like, okay, well, clearly I don't know, maybe I am meant to go a little bit lighter. If I had a proper like nutrition coach or something, they'd probably dial that in a little bit. But yeah, I probably raced heavier than my last race. I was probably raced at like 162 pounds or 160 pounds, whereas I really wanted to get to like 140. Yeah. It must not have been 162. It must be a little bit lighter than that, but
yeah, because I'm maybe like, yeah, I'm probably like 165, 170.
Yeah. So yeah, that was an interesting one, because I'd like to try and race lighter, but I don't know. It's kind of that, maybe the next one, just try and get light. It's just like, you need the nutrition, especially for a race that gets into like 2-3 hours. Like, you just need that nutrition.
Yeah, I think we chatted about it before as well. We're like, that nutrition's still something that I'm proactively trying to get better at it.
Yeah, me too.
But like, it's definitely something that I'm still.
Cookie.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something that I'm still like struggling with it. We're like, yeah, like, Yeah, I'm just like trying to dial in because then also like I also do still have a little bit of vanity and ego where like I don't want to just so obviously I could just eat a shitload of food and swim, but I have a little bit of vanity where like obviously still want to look
Yeah,
good. So
100%.
I'm trying to like find this balance between like right now it's kind of like between like yeah, just like the right amount to eat where like it's fueling me, but I'm not putting on weight. And right now I'm not. I'm the balance is more that I'm like
You're like,
I'm skewing to the like still putting weight on, which I'd rather as much as I do have the vanity, like I would, you know, ultimately I'd rather like perform better. But I'm like each time I'm eating, I'm like, do I need this extra little bit?
well,
Or can I?
two things on that. One, I always think about this. Like when I first started going to the gym, I was like, I'm doing this to aesthetically look better. And then as you keep going to the gym, I was like, okay, all I care about is lifting more than the guy next to me. So I didn't care about like the aesthetic of it anymore. And then I was eventually like pivoted out. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to get into running because it's healthy and good for you. But let me think about like, you know, aesthetically, like I'm going to run so I can look better as well. Same thing. You start running and you're like, I don't care. I just want to run quicker.
Yeah.
So you run into that a little bit, I find, where, you know, what you're thinking of in the original, like you were just saying like, yeah, vanity, like I want to look good doing this. And then eventually like, fuck it, I just care about performing really well. So then you kind of like, let me dial towards that one.
Yeah.
A little bit more. I don't remember what I was going to say on the second thing there, but
I don't know.
oh, I know what I was going to say. I remember when I first got back from my trip and I bumped into you in the gym. I went home and whenever I go, I play a game with my roommates, Sarah and Jack. I go home and I say like, guess who I saw? And then they have to ask yes or no questions until they narrow it. We literally play it like every single day.
That's amazing.
It's a really fun game because, you know, it makes you like think about the people that you see on a daily basis. And it's funny because sometimes they'll ask you a question, you actually like don't know what the answer is. So I'm just like, I don't want to tell you yes or no because I really don't know. But the point of this was I got home, I told Sarah that I bumped into you. Well, she guessed that I bumped into you. And I was like, he's looking like strong, like so like I was like, he looks big, but not like unhealthy big. He looks like strong big. And at this point I didn't know you were training to do the swim.
Right, okay.
So then I bumped into you again down the road and then you told me that you were training for the swim. I went home immediately. I told Sarah, I'm like, that is why he looks so good because he's swimming so much.
I think I'd also just seen you after like a big swim, which is it kind of has the same effect as like going and doing weights. Like you kind of get maybe not necessarily like a pump, but you get like I've come out of the gym, out of the pool, and I'm even like, I look like I've just been to the gym because you must get like a pump, and I guess because it's all upper body, like your chest and all that stuff. Yeah. So because it's funny, like Max came in, I don't know, my house like a week or two ago, and he said that, he was like, oh, Gavin says you're looking really good, but I'd literally just came home and like stuffed my face.
So and Max was like, you look like shit.
Yeah, I lifted up my top and he was like, oh. He was totally like, oh. And I was like, yeah, I think he just caught me on a good day. But yeah, no, it's funny. I think I was always like obsessed with the gym for the aesthetics of it. But then for like one reason or another, not one reason or another, I kept injuring myself from poor form, going too heavy. You know, I like just kept doing it. Same thing. So, which is why I kind of stepped into the more like endurance stuff and the swimming and stuff like that. But I was like, oh, but like I'll lose the aesthetics that I like to have. And then what I've realized, like I've been going to the gym like once a week if I can. Like I don't even know if I'm going to go this week because I'm swimming like 5 or 6 times a week, give or take. And I haven't really, my physique has definitely changed, but like it actually surprised me where I'm like, I actually like probably prefer how I look now than when I was doing the gym
100%
5 days a week. And just it's fun. I think I had to, and it's the first time in my life where I think I've finally let go of the gym. I'm like, and doing, you know, I said this to a previous friend where I was like, I think when I grew up, like I didn't do sport to like, this is really stupid and it's probably, I'm not articulating it perfectly, but like, it was almost like I was doing sport to lose weight or to like look better. Like I wasn't doing it just because I enjoyed it. Yeah. You know, but it's only now in the last like couple of years where it's switched the other way where I'm like, you know, like I enjoy what I do. As opposed to being like, I have to do this because I want to put a muscle or I want to lose weight and look better.
Yeah, and I feel like that's most people at the gym. I feel like a lot of them, like I was the exact same boat. I was like, I'm just doing this because I want to look good. And then I said you kind of get caught up with just wanting to lift heavier. I injured my shoulder just from lifting. Same thing, just like got into a weird position in bench and it just like popped it. But but yeah, it's like, I agree. Now I'm like, I run. My upper body is nowhere near as big as it was at any point in my life, but I'm like, I just think I look better than
You
I
do.
did.
You
That I
look.
look
I mean,
better.
I didn't know you before, but you
Yeah.
look really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I was looking back at some photos and I was like, I just looked thick. Like I was
Yeah.
strong, but I looked so thick, and it took me a lot of effort to get big. Like I was eating so much because I was like, I just want to put a weight on to be heavier and be stronger.
Mm.
Yeah, but now I'm like running. I mean, I get it a little bit of a weird, this kind of, I don't know, it's sad. I don't even know what the right word is for this, but I've never had a problem with like eating stuff or any eating. Like I've just always been in good shape. Like I've always played sport. I always played hockey. I've had a hard time putting on weight. I've never had an issue with that. But for some reason, whenever I've finished a race, happened last year, it happened now, I get like very self-conscious that I don't want to be eating more, which is so weird. And I'm like, I have no problem with it. I think it's because of the aesthetic thing maybe, but I'm like, before race day, I'm running, spending 10 to 12 hours on the treadmill every single week. Whereas now I'm like super casual, getting out there. I'm like, oh, am I okay to be eating this ice cream that I would have been okay with eating before because I'm not working out? And it's like I just need to sometimes realize like, who fucking cares?
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely the same. 100%. I'm the same. Like, I think I'm at an age now where like, and this is talking about myself. Like was more insecure. I was just insecure, which is why I definitely had that mentality. Whereas now, I don't really care. Obviously, I still want to look good, but yeah, I would be the same when you do a lot of training, you do the thing, and then, I mean, you're also like probably your ratio of like what you're consuming to what you're burning is probably swayed because then you're going to casual stuff. And yeah, I'm the same. Like, I think after like a couple of weeks of doing like finishing a race, I'd be like, oh fuck, I'm actually like getting a little bit podgy. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to care about how you look, but yeah, I think in my youth I have definitely had more of a negative relationship with that, where like I probably would just have a bit more negative relationship with food, where I'm like, I can't eat this, and then I'm just like,
mine was I don't even know. It's a weird one because I like didn't have any negative, but now like it's almost like come out of nowhere, and I also probably was a bit insecure about like looks and stuff, but that was probably why I wanted to go to the gym now. Same kind of thing. Like I don't really care about it. And I guess it just, happens to work out. Like when you're doing an activity, you're probably going to be in reasonable shape.
I wonder if it's just because you want to keep going though. So you're like, well, I know if I eat this, like I'm going to kind of take a few steps back. So I've definitely made that, not necessarily a mistake, but I've done that where like I've done something and then taken a long time off from it. And then you're like, and then it's even harder to get back to where you were before. And that's with like food and training, where you're like, you're just kind of like starting like ground, like you kind of get to a point, or like I got to a point, and then I took this massive time off. It took me not to ground zero, but like kind of. And then you're like, right, I need to start all the way. And then it's like, whereas if you just like did it and then like maybe had a little dip, and then, but you can kind of keep going and stepping up.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm hoping to do now. I'm hoping I did a decent amount of mileage last week. This week it was my birthday, so I kind of
happy birthday! I didn't even know.
I like just.
What'd you do?
Nothing. We just chilled.
Oh, okay.
But I was like, wanted to go for a run on my birthday. It just didn't happen because I was hanging out with friends.
Yeah.
The next day, I worked and then played softball because I play softball as well. Didn't have time for a run. I didn't run on the Monday either because I was like, let me take Mondays a rest day. And I think the 3 days off, I guess post Boston, I didn't run for a full week. But like in terms of any training time, like that was the longest I've been in ages. Other than last year, I sprained my ankle. So I really did feel like I went back to square one with that because I think I took like 2.5 months off, maybe a little bit more, maybe nearly 3 months. I didn't run at all because I still feel at my ankle a little bit, which is really frustrating. But there was a point where I was like, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to run as quick as I did that previous, because I was like, every time I go for a run, it just hurts.
Well, we're probably at that perfect age where you can do that. Yeah. Like you can take X amount of time off and then still
get back.
Yeah, because you're probably like in I would say your prime, which I guess you kind of are. Like, what can I ask what you do?
Yeah, I just turned 28.
Okay, 20. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because I feel like up to 35 is like you're kind of like
that's how I feel. I'm like, I think I should be able to continue to PB until 30 something, like mid 30s.
Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, I'm 31, and it's like I never really considered like when people are like, oh yeah, like your best time will be doing stuff in like your 30s and stuff like that. Because I think some of my friends now back home, like they're all into golf, right? Which is totally fair enough.
Yeah.
But like I was actually chatting about this with someone yesterday who they made the point that they were like at our age, they were like, I want to do this stuff that I won't be able to do when I'm 50, 60,
100%.
Whereas he was like, and I think it's because I was chatting about my mates, and he's like, whereas your mates, they're doing stuff now that they can do when they're 60.
Yeah.
So they should be like, in his philosophy, and I agree with it, it's like, do the stuff now that you're not going to be able to do then, and wait to do all that stuff.
Yeah, the only thing that I think about with that, like I I think personally I agree with that philosophy. Like that's why I want to do this now. But I think there's something to be said about like continuing to perfect a craft.
Yeah.
So it's like they're probably going to, be a great golfer at that point. I guess it depends on what your goals are. If they don't care to be a good golfer, then it doesn't really matter. It's not like they're really like they're just doing it as a social thing regardless. That's fair enough. I think I very often just get caught up in like I golfed a ton a few years ago. And I just get caught up with like, how can I get better at this? How can I be? And then you get like, I'm frustrated. I'm not playing better. And now I'm like, okay, I don't need to golf because like I can do that later in life. I could probably perfect it later. Not perfect it, but I'm never going to be a great golfer. But I can put the time in then. Yeah. Let's do the thing now that I'm not going to be able to be like, good at. I think sometimes this is what catches me a little bit. I'm like, why do I care about being better at this? Like, who cares? Like, why do I want to run faster? Like, what is the point? And then I think about it sometimes, putting 12 hours in a week. Like, what if I use that 12 hours to something else? Like, what am I getting out of this? And then I reflected on it a little bit. I did my first therapy session in my life like 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
And part of that, there was a funny point where my therapist, she asked like, what kind of music do you like? And this, that, and the other. And I answered the question. I was like, oh, I like pretty much everything. I like listen to this music. I listen to a bunch of different podcasts. She stopped me and she was like, you realize there's no right answer to this question. And I was like, I don't know what I said that made her assume that I was like giving the right answer. But I was like, that's genuinely what I listen to. The reason I bring that up was because part of it was like, what do you use to like meditate or like just to like relax in a way? And then she was like, a lot of people use music. And I was like, maybe that is like, I use the running piece as a very therapeutic time. Even if I have something in it and I'm listening, I just, it's the time that you completely disconnect, I find for myself. That's why a lot of people like to run. They like to do group runs and run with people. I love running on my own. I think it's like a great hour, 2 hours of just like my own space, my own thoughts. The only thing I wish that I had was, I wish there was like an app that with my headphones in, I could like write notes or like talk to myself and it would like record it because I think about most of the things when I run. I have like most of my ideas when I run. So that is backpedaling. I think that's why I still continue to run. But then why do I want to push going faster? Like that part, I don't necessarily know why.
I was going to say, do you know why?
No, I don't know why. Yeah. I think I just typically find something that I get very interested in and then I will go all out in it and then I often will just give up on it at some point. Like even the running this year, because I ran and I guess because I was traveling, I did 0 days at the ski hill this year, whereas last year I did like 30 or 20 something. The year before that I did 60. The year before that I did 60. But this year I was like, I want to run. I will not risk hurting myself on the hill and not doing this race. So I do think about that. I'm like, maybe I should get better at balancing some of these things because like next year I'd love to go spend some time on the hill instead of like being dedicated to a race. But I know that if I sign up for a race, I'll be like, I don't want to go to the hill because I just want to run.
That's exactly where I'm at just now. Where like, you like, because I'm swimming 5 or 6 times a week. So anyone's like, do you want to do anything? There's not this specific day off that I have. I'm like, nah.
Yeah, same.
And I have like, I'm getting to that point. So been in this training program probably since about October-ish time. So what is it now? It's like the end of it. So it's like mid-May. So October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. So maybe like 8 months. I've got another 4 months to go. And I'm at that point where like, I'm swinging between being buzzing and like psyched to do it and being totally like, because I think now it's summer, I'm just like, what am I doing? Like, I know you're out running. I know like, everyone's outside and I'm in the pool, for granted it's not that long, maybe like.
Did you ever go to Johnson?
So I will be, yeah. So that's like probably in the next couple of weeks I will start doing.
Wetsuit.
Yeah. So, which will be good. Maybe that's when I'll get my kick of being outside. Because I think, you're right. Like you sign up for a thing and you kind of do sacrifice a lot because obviously I've kind of had this little back thing. So I'm like, and swimming is perfect. It's not perfect for it, but I have no issues swimming with it. Whereas I'm like, someone says, do you want to go rock climbing? I'm like, yeah, I do. But then what happens if like you have a weird, because as you know, it's just like anything, like a weird tweak. And then, so I kind of feel like a bit of a like reclusive.
100%. I went for, blue rock climbing is a perfect example. I went for a climb 2 years ago. The one day I went on the wall, I fell. It wasn't a bad fall, but I hit my knee against the wall. I didn't run for 2 weeks. And I was like, I don't care about climbing enough to do this. I would prefer running. I'm happy to just not climb. So
I'm definitely the same as you with the whole runners thing. And I guess that's the runner's high that everyone goes on about. Like, I'm the same where like, I could be thinking about something all day I'll go a run,
Mhm.
and it just like the thing will then
Yeah,
crystallize.
just like yeah.
It's not even like an epiphany, but it's just like
Mhm.
I could be thinking the same thing on the run, but for whatever reason on the run, it just seems to like gel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, right, cool, yeah, that's what. Once I get out, and I kind of do that a little bit with the swim. I don't think to the same degree, just because obviously you're just so much. Swimming's such more of like being in a tunnel.
Mhm.
Where like, you know, we're running, like sometimes I'd run without music, sometimes I'd run with
Yeah.
them. It didn't really make a difference too much. Like sometimes I'd want them and not. Whereas with swimming, it's like if you don't have music, it's just like, yeah, it's you and your thoughts, which at times can be really
Get
good.
like the lapping
Oh,
over you.
yeah, you're just like, and if you have a bit of a negative thought going in your head, not like anything crazy, but you're just like, I'm tired, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
That on repeat. At times it's like, yeah, it can be like tiring. But yeah, definitely like with the running, like getting that kind of therapeutic aspect of it. Like I actually do miss that. Like I think once I do this, I would definitely like to get back into running again. But like with the therapy, so was that just something that you, like, was there, without being too personal about it, was there anything specific, or were you just like, I want to do this? Because I was, sorry, just to like, because I actually think it would be amazing to do.
Yeah.
But like more just because I'm think anyone would benefit from it.
100%. I think there was a point a long time ago when I was in high school where I had gotten referred to a therapist.
Yeah.
And I said this to them when I was there the other day. I actually felt really bad the way that I responded. I basically just shut that person down and was like, why the fuck am I here? Like, fuck you, basically. And it's weird because I say that I was a really good kid. Like, I did well in school. I'm not that kind of person ever with anybody. So it was really weird that in that situation, that I reacted that way. And then, yeah, I don't know. I think it's just to like clear my head. I think that I think about a lot of things all the time, and it was what like I'd basically been referred for. I went to the doctor because I was getting a bunch of shit checked. I was getting blood work done because I also, like you were saying, I was really tired all the time. And then I pull up my beard often, and I like pull a bald patch like all the time. I bite my nails sometimes, so I was like, what is going on? Why do I feel this way? They referred me to like a virtual therapist, and I was like, okay, I've kind of spoken about doing this for probably 5 to 6 years, and every time I'm not feeling that great, I'm like, oh, I should do this. I should finally bite the bullet. And then every time I'm ready to bite the bullet, I'm like, oh, I actually feel fine. Fuck it. What am I doing wasting my time? I'm really grateful that I did it. So I think there's only one. I've got another session coming up, and I will see. I don't know if I think it was beneficial. I think, like you said earlier, that's what I was thinking about from that point. When you said you went for the walk with the guy in Singapore, I feel like it's easier almost to chat with somebody you don't know that well because they have no bearing on your life. They don't know any of the context. So like you can have that deep chat with that random person, like a therapist or like that random guy that you meet in a hostel in Singapore, and go for like a walk for 3 hours because you can literally say anything. You can say like, I fucking hate that rich guy. And he'd be like, whatever.
He's like, fuck,
I hate that guy too. Yeah.
You know
what I mean? Like, it's just that they only, like, they're so on your perspective.
Yeah.
That, I mean, you give them context probably, but it's just, I think, easier to talk to somebody like that. Yeah, I think just trying to figure out a place in life is what
Oh, dude, yeah, preaching to the choir. Like,
yeah, that's the biggest one. Is I think like even doing something like this is kind of sweet. I think about I'd like to learn more from more people all the time. That's why I constantly think about, like I was talking about with the running before. I'm like, is putting 12 hours a week into running my best use of my time, or is there like something else that I think I should be doing that is more beneficial? So that's why I'm like, should I minimize it and use it as a therapy thing, like do 4 hours a week, 4 runs a week or something, or should I, continue doing this because it brings me joy, I think. But
yeah, I know. And I think of the same thing as well. Because as much as I was saying about my mates with the golf, like, yeah, it's all good in me saying that. But if they don't want to do it, they're not going to do it. So it's kind of like to your point there, where it's like, you enjoy running 12 hours a week. So then, because I've thought like, so there's two things I would love to do. And I've done them like briefly both in the past. Yeah. Like I've learned Spanish like on and off. I've learned the piano on and off. I'd love to be fluent at both. And I think to myself, same as you, where I'm like, okay, I'm swimming fucking X amount of hours a week. What happens if I just like 30 minutes a night? But I just don't have the motivation. No. Whereas with the swim or whatever the thing is, it's like usually athletic wise, I always, for whatever reason, I always have the motivation to do it. So like, even though I could be like, right, I'll swim half the amount of time, I know for a fact that I probably wouldn't spend the other half of the time doing the thing. I'd probably, for a couple of weeks be on it and then just be like, fuck it.
Yeah, I think that I 100% agree, because I think I thought like, well, what are the other things I could use the time for? And you're like, when you actually have that time, you don't use it for what you were doing. And I find really often what I would do when I was even training before, even now, if I want to procrastinate, like if I don't want to do something, I will always default to going for a run. Like that is like,
I mean, that's pretty good though.
It is good. And people always say that. They're like, oh, it's like, that's great. But it's like, sometimes I need to sit down and do something. And I'm like, oh, you know what? Like doing a run is also good for me. I should just do that first. And then I get back and I'm like, oh, I don't really want to do that thing anymore. So I'm just not going to do it.
Yeah, I think I also like the older I get, the more I see value in boredom. And I mean that in the sense like, because see when you're bored, so this is where this kind of all came out of. So like a couple of years, thought about doing a podcast for like a decade, but like the last couple of years, I had done like, had gone through like, I'd done points of sobriety, like a month here, a month there. But the last like, maybe a couple of years, like I think like I've done longer stretches, like 6 months. And then like, see when it's like, so I work Monday to Friday, gets to Friday, so I've got the whole weekend off, but then I wasn't going out drinking. And then, probably wasn't socializing as much, to be fair, as well. But what I'm getting at is that I was then bored.
Yeah.
And the boredom was what fueled me to be like, right, well, I can't just waste multiple weekends not doing anything.
Sitting there twiddling your thumbs.
Yeah, like I've got this idea, like let's just do anything. And then, so like now I'm just like, I try and allow like when I get bored, don't just immediately go on my phone or like maybe for you like go a run, like just sit in it for like a little bit. And it's easier said than done. Like usually it's in hindsight I'm saying all this stuff. It's not like I'm in the moment I'm like, I'm bored, let's utilize
think about this moment. Yeah, no, I agree.
But like it's just like I guess now I actually probably do that a little bit. But like I'm like, just like sit with the boredom and just be like, what comes into your mind, and then not necessarily like act on it, like instantly jump up and do the thing, but then like if you enjoy running, I mean at least you're doing something healthy.
I do think about it that way. I'm like, at least I'm doing something. I think the reason, I got two things I'll say again, back with the double, but I think why I started running was kind of like I said before, I was like drinking heavily, like from university time, I would drink so heavily, I would party all the time, probably a little bit of drug usage that was not great to be doing, but I kind of was like, one, this is so unhealthy for me, like what am I doing? And two, it's like double, it feels good when I'm doing it. It's a bit of therapy, maybe that'll fix what I was using other things for. So it just like, you can't do that bad thing because you want to be focused on that. So I think that comes into it a bit, and it gives you a great excuse to, like, if people do want to go and party or do something crazy, like, unfortunately, like I have like a big run tomorrow. I just can't stay out all night because of this. But I do also think about this. Like when I first moved here, my whole life, probably up until I would say even like 2 years ago, I had a really hard time spending time alone or even like one-on-one time with people. I was really bad at spending like a time one-on-one. I would be like nervous of what I was going to talk about with that person. I'd like think about it before I even spent the time with them. I was like, what am I going to say to this person? Are we even actually friends? And I think about that, and I'm like, with like my best friend, like when do we spend time one-on-one? So I think the past 2 years, I've really tried to focus on, one, spending time by myself, because I would have such bad FOMO before, whereas now I'm so okay with being in the house on my own, sitting, reading, doing something. I think dialed in on that. And then two, I mean, I've always been very comfortable talking with people, but I think I'm now really comfortable in a one-on-one setting as well, where, like I said, I really, really struggled with that before.
I'm still the same. Like, I think I've always been comfortable on my own. But the second point, like 100%, like one of the boys from the gym messaged me, this like 2 weeks ago, messaged me and was just like, hey, do you want to go out for dinner? And I was like, yeah, but I was like, what the fuck?
What are we going to talk about?
I was just so nervous in the sense of, I was just like, I've chatted to this guy for years because he's been here. I chat to him all the time, literally all the time.
I know.
And then he was like, do you want to hang out? And I was just instantly like, on the way there, I was like, what are we
going to talk about?
I was like, I was almost like in my mind, I was like, as anxious as it would be if it was like a first date.
100%.
I was like, what am I going to talk to this guy about?
Literally, I had the exact same thing as well with a friend. I was like, I've only ever spent time with you with like 6 other people, and we spend time together great with the 6 other people, but I've never spent time with just you. And then we go out and spend time together. I'm like, I do actually just like you for you. I don't need to have these other people around. And I think that was the big one for me, is a bit of that revelation. My other side, I feel like I've always got like these double sides. I constantly think about like the one side versus the other. I worry that I've become so focused on like improving being by myself, like taking the time to just read, that I don't socialize as much as I would like to anymore. And I don't know, like I'm nervous that I would flip all the way back to the other side and like always want to be with people. But yeah, I think about that often, the solitude time versus the time with people, because I'm like, I feel like I should be giving more to my friends, because we friends, I should be giving them my time, spending time with them, and I almost feel guilty that I'm not spending time with my friends. And then the reason that I started doing this was because I had such a hard time spending time on my own. So I really feel like I constantly think about these, and it shouldn't really be like an equation or something that I think about. It should just come naturally, but I feel like I do think about it often. And now I tried to even like work in some of those like group runs, for example, which I didn't really do before, because I'm like, maybe this is a good time to chat with somebody or make that friend.
Yeah, I mean, not just to agree with everything you're saying, but I'm honestly the same. Like when I was younger, I think up until probably like 23, I was similar to you, drinking, doing a lot of extracurricular stuff as well. And but I was uber social. Like I was constantly chatting to people, like doing all this stuff. And then I went kind of the same as you, maybe a little bit off the end as well, because at that point I deleted all my social media.
Yeah.
So I went from like Uber, and I travel, and then I left and went traveling.
Yeah.
So I remember like it was kind of funny, because I'd like left for like 2 years and then came back, and when a guy that I was like mates with but didn't chat to enough to keep in touch when I was away, I'd like the very first place I went to was India, and then I'd delete all my social media like in this like.
I thought you died.
So when I met him like 2 years later, he's like, "Have you been in India like this whole time?"
He had no idea where you were. That's crazy.
But yeah, it was the same where like I went like from like not like the extreme. I was just like social, like any young guy, like going out drinking, doing whatever. And then went like total opposite. Then I did go the extreme of like traveling on my own, moving on my own, doing everything. And then I was just like, I was the same, but probably still am the same now. Where like this has honestly helped me be like more social, because I think I over the years have got way too comfortable being on my own.
Yeah,
like I'm chilling on my own. Granted, I don't want to spend every like 11 minute, but like if I had like a weekend where I was just like, doing stuff like going to the gym, going to run, going to swim, going to hike, doing whatever, but I was by myself, I'd probably be content. But then I definitely sometimes, and I've done this in band for like, I'll go out and I'll like, say me and you went out, like me and that guy went out, and it ended up like when we were out, it was like everyone I knew was out.
I know.
And I was like, fucking hell, I feel like I'm like such a social recluse, because I was like, I talk to these people all the time for whatever it may be, the gym, the work or whatever, and then I saw them out and I was like, oh God, I fucking never go out, man. I feel like but then I honestly enjoy like my company, so it's definitely like a balance. It's definitely a balance, because there's this study, it's the world's longest study, I believe, like there's a word for it, but it's the longest like spanning time study on like happiness.
Yeah.
They started like with this generation, like can't remember when, fucking say it was just like the 70s or whatever. And they have studied from these people like all the way through the generations. So it's like the longest study on like happiness. And the one thing that they have found is the common denominator between anyone, regardless of your age, ethnicity, where you live, your like social standing, whatever, is community is the one guarantee of people who have long and happy lives. Is people who have like communities. And I remember reading about this guy who like, he was like really old, and he was just like, effectively he was just such a nice guy, he didn't want to bother anyone, so he never didn't want to bother his family, didn't want to bother his mates, so he didn't like bother them in the sense of like, he felt like if he asked them for something, like he was being like a nuisance. So he ended up being like really alone and sad. And I've never just been like reading it, I was like, is that gonna be me when I'm like but yeah, I think, sorry, to your point though, is like trying to find the balance between like doing what is good for you, but then also like spending time with your mates. And
and I think it's I think about like sometimes I do think about like, I take a step back, like when am I in like the best possible mood, and it's almost always when I'm with like other people. When I'm just chilling with my friends and we just at home and just talking is when I'm having my best time. I don't need to be out in the mountains. I don't need to be anywhere. And I think I've thought about that quite a lot recently, because I've got some other friends, which I'm sure you have the same boat, that don't live here. They're friends from back home. And I'm like, oh, I miss those friends, and like I don't get the time with them anymore. And I moved out here because I wanted to do all these activities out in the mountains, and I wanted to do all these activities. But I realized, I think more and more, like my best moments are just the times that I'm hanging with these people. So
Yeah.
I think about that often, of having that network is worth more than anything, really.
Yeah.
Like, spending time with people.
Yeah, I'm the same. Like, if I think of it, like my mates back home, my family, and I'm like, if I do get like negative about it, like as in like missing them and stuff, is I always think like, oh, like imagine just all the boys on like a holiday, not even like going wild, but just I think back and like, oh, imagine like I was just imagine we're just all chilling on the beach having a couple of drinks. Like that's always my go-to. As much as I'm saying I enjoy my own company, like I didn't really think it until you pointed it out there. Like if I ever think of like what I'm missing, it's like, oh, imagine I was at my mom and dad's house and like everyone's there. It's never like, oh, imagine I was by myself, like
no, exactly,
reading a book. But yeah, I think it's interesting. Like I think with the therapy as well, like I haven't done it, and I would, but like I just haven't.
Yeah.
But and I think it's also because it's kind of like at that period of life where like there's so many unknowns. Like I don't know where like. I don't know where I'm going to live forever. Like maybe here, maybe home. I don't know like what my job is going to be forever. I don't know like what I'm going to do. Like I think sometimes I'm like, I want to chat to someone and be like, what do I do? Or like just, because you could chat to your mates. All my mates want me to go back home.
100%. They're biased.
Yeah. Chat to my mum and dad. They are just like so like, want you to have like a safe and happy life. So like I'm obviously in a good position just now with like where I live, my job or whatever. So they're just like, stay there. Like don't like, because if you leave, you might not get as good a job or whatever. And I'm like, kind of to your point of like talking to a stranger, I'm like, I need someone who's like totally unbiased 100%. To the thing and being like...
But they're not going to give you the answer either. They're just going to tell you to ask yourself, basically.
Which is kind of what I'm doing now, but yeah, it would be sweet. But yeah, I think that's where like I definitely enjoy like exercising like quite a lot, because I definitely get that like therapeutic sense in it.
Yeah.
And that's probably what I was going to ask you. I was like, what kind of draws you to it? But it sounds like,
Yeah, I think a bit of it is just like the therapy aspect of it, I think is what really draws it to me. And I think I intrinsically just have a obsessive or competitive thing in my mind, which is why I like when I got into it, I was like, I don't want to just be like average at it.
Yeah.
I think out here is really difficult because I like compare myself to these other people who are very good. So you feel average at it all the time. But like you were saying, when you talk about your mates back home, like I bet you I'm the fastest marathon runner any of my mates know.
Yeah.
But I come here and I'm like, I know quite a few that are faster than me.
Yeah.
So it's like, like there's exactly. Unfortunately, it gives you like that stride to get to that next one. But sometimes just,
sometimes you're like, I'd like to be the fastest person.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, if I just went home, I would be the fastest person that they know.
Yeah. I think it's cool though to live in a place where like you do have, there's like, no matter like what you've done, there's always going to be someone better. And I mean, you can literally do that infinitely until you get to the Michael Jordans of the world.
I'll tell you my anecdote with that, which I have told a few people, but I don't know why it's stuck with me so much. So like I was saying before, you pick up your bib in Boston. Typically it's organized. Well, it is organized. Like the person with the number one bib is the fastest person that's not a pro. They might even be the pros at number 1, 2. I don't exactly know. But I'm picking up my bib. I told you I was 3,700. I was pretty confident I was going to outperform my bib, but still I was like, 3,700. I see this guy next to me. He's picking up his bib. It's bib number 800. And I looked at him in my head. I was like, whoa, that guy must be so quick. And I literally, in that moment, like not even a split second later, I was like, he probably picked up that bib, looked to his left, saw a buddy picking up bib 200 and was like, oh, that guy is so quick. So then I thought about that. I'm like, there's probably somebody over there who's looking at me thinking that exact same thing. It's like, it's just this ladder of people. Like that guy, number 1 is like, oh, the pros, why am I not a pro? And then as I left the convention center where I was picking up my bib, I have that clear bag that I was talking about and the bib is kind of just hanging on the back. This lady comes up to me and is like, oh my God, you number 3,700? You must be so quick. And I was like, whoa, this is like exactly what I was just playing
That's
out.
what I needed.
Yeah, it's exactly what I was playing out in my mind. It's just such a, like you're saying, you just always like, how can I get to that next? But, sometimes you are somebody else's next, they're looking at you and they're like, that, I want to be that. I want to get there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, that is something that I do think about a little, like, I've got friends, they're great at different things, and especially the ones back home in Toronto, like they focused on their jobs, but they'll look at me and be like, okay, how do I run like him? Like, what am I
Yeah.
gonna do? Whereas again, I'm here and I look at the other people like, how do I run like him or her?
But also like to like give it another layer to it. So there's a guy, Alex Hormozy or something like that,
Yeah.
who said something where he's like, he said, you've already done things that you said would make you happy.
100%.
And it's kind of to like, so you're saying you're comparing yourself to the guy on your left, but like imagine previous you
Yeah.
who ran that 4-hour marathon looking at you now.
They'd be like, that's not possible.
Yeah.
They'd be like, how did you possibly do
Yeah,
that?
so it's mad how you can like even do it within yourself.
Yeah,
where you're
yeah.
like, you look back and you're like, me 5 years ago would have looked at me picking up number 3,000 and thought,
I'm like,
holy shit.
fuck, that guy is so quick. Yeah, it is cool. That part is, I think what I really like about running, going back to like what draws me into it still, is it's such a, what you put in, like if you put more in,
Yeah.
you will run quicker. Like there's obviously a few different things you can do, like improve efficiency, like eat better, you know, all that kind of shit.
I love it. You're like, oh, that honestly.
Yeah, fuck that stuff. But basically, like in the biggest column of that is if I put more time in, more like effective hours at like a quick pace. Like, you know, if I have a good program and I put more time in, I will run quicker.
Yeah.
Like if I think I averaged like 115 or 120K a week on my training block. If I did that again with the same breakdown of like threshold and zone 2, and I did 130K a week, I would run quicker. You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
quite a lot.
but it's just like, you know, I can, if you just dial in and just do more, you will. I think that's why I like it's very linear, which is again, going back to things that I would like to work on, is not being so focused on like a linear outcome, but like okay with the ebbs and flows. But right now it's like I can run more and I will run quicker if I do.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah, and I think it's, I know, like, I think I also struggle between, like, having that goal and not having that goal, like, of the having something that's linear that you can go along with, because sometimes when I don't, which I haven't at times, I kind of feel like I'm just a bit, like, now, lost is maybe too extreme, but, like, maybe a bit, like, directionless.
Yeah,
I'm
100%.
kind of, like, and even though it's, like, I'm talking, obviously, right now about this, like, athletic thing,
Yeah.
I almost find that, like, bleeds into my life,
100%.
where then I'm like, all right, well, fucking... Like, even like maybe a year ago before I'd kind of kicked into the swim, I was a bit like, right, well, am I going to stay in Banff? Am I going to, like, what am I doing next year? Like, and I guess maybe the difference should be, like, say one of my friends who's an accountant, like, he's like, you know, like working his way up to being like the fucking top dog of this place. So that's like his path, you know, whereas mine is like, you know, same as you, like you moved to a totally different place, you're kind of like doing a job, like sometimes it's seasonal as well. So you're kind of like, right, okay, next year, what will I be doing? You know, I think but then when you add in this like linear thing, like the race of whatever it is, it kind of, I kind of like anchor myself to that. And I'm like, right, cool, that's what I'm doing. And like, you know, this year I'm like, I'm swimming the channel. Whereas like anything outside of that, I'm like, I don't know where I'm going to fucking... Yeah. I'm not planning on moving or quit my job, but you know, you're kind of like...
But that is the like guiding thing in your life.
Yeah, like I do like having it, but yeah, I think... but then you're right, like you can become like, not you, but I can probably become too like obsessed with it. Where I'm just like, I've talked to people, and to be honest, I actually don't talk about it a lot, but like, you know, sometimes I'm like, am I talking about this 24/7?
But that's how I felt as well about running. I'm like, I don't want to be the person that talks about it all the time.
But that's what you're doing all the time.
I know, that's all you do.
Yeah. So they're like, you know, like I'll sometimes lie to people, and not like, I'll tell them, they're like, what'd you do last night? I'm like, nothing. Just because I don't want to be like,
I swam. Yeah.
And they're like, oh, like, where you did? And it's more like when they ask you to do something at the weekends.
I know.
And they're like, what are you doing this weekend? I'm like, swimming. They're like, yeah, but you like, you know, you were swimming last weekend. I'm like, yeah, I'm
swimming again.
I was like, I'm swimming again in there. And some people totally get it. Like you, Jesse, like various other people that do that kind of thing. If I said that, they'd be like, yeah, sweet, get it. But yeah, you see other people who don't, like Dom I work with, he's like, he just doesn't really do anything like that, as in like long distance stuff. So when I'm like, so he's usually the one that's like, hey, let's hang out and do shit. I'm like, mate, I'd love to, but I'm swimming today. And he's like, well, tomorrow. And I'm like, well, I'm swimming tomorrow. And I'm like, but I have like an evening off if you want to do something like
on Tuesday.
Yeah. And then we did it on what was it? It was like Saturday or Sunday just passed. But I was knackered. I was tired. Yeah. So like I've finally, not finally, but like I was like, I need to hang out with him. Like, one, because I want to, but two, because I'm like, if I don't, this guy's eventually just gonna be like, right,
I'm not your friend anymore.
This guy, yeah. So I was like, I'll do it. And then I'd swam. And then I went to Canmore because that's where he lives, and we were going to go out, do a hike. But dude, I messaged him like, I've got no energy.
Yeah.
Like, I'm honestly want to hang out with you, but I was like, and he was like, why? And I was like, swimming. And he's just like
that. Yeah,
he's like,
that's the worst thing. I think that is one thing that I even hesitated about. I like was looking at what marathon I'm going to do for the end of the year, and I have so much energy right now because I'm not fully training. I was like, I just have so much more energy. It feels so good. Why? I was like, why do I do this?
Yeah, no.
Like right now I have so much more energy. But then I'm like, maybe I have this energy because I did do that and now I'm not doing it, so I've got the energy. But yeah.
Well, so have you got like a Garmin or something?
Yeah, we're the Forerunner.
Yeah, did you? So when I was doing my run, like the 100 mile, like my fitness stage, I think it's called, was like 18.
Yeah, mine says I'm 18. I bet you 90% of the valley here, they all just show 18 because we're all in good shape compared to...
I was obsessed with that though when I was doing it. I was like, I honestly was kind of obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Like now, so I kind of make an excuse for myself now because I used to wear this watch religiously. Like now I don't wear it when I sleep. Like
you don't?
Nah, I kind of find it, no, I don't. I find it uncomfortable. So, I haven't actually checked it. I'll check it after this what my fitness stage would be, but it obviously crept back up to like a kind of like, I want to say like 20s or something.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But I kind of made the excuse because I was like, well, I guess I'm not wearing it at night when my heart rate probably naturally comes down quite a bit.
Goes low,
but when I was doing the run, I remember being like, that's mental.
Yeah, I think running has to be like the best for that type of stuff because it's just like your VO2 goes up a ton. It's your heart rate going down a ton.
It did make me think like, even now when I'm doing the swim, and I remember like, being like, I'll definitely do running like later on again because it like it was
so much, so like there's no impact on your body, and like you said, it's like a full body. You look good because you like literally bigger.
Yeah, because it's all I guess I think the only thing which I don't have, but I think the only thing is like your shoulders, like just some like constant
motion.
Probably the same as your of really anything running, like your knees and like I feel like everyone was. When I was doing longer stuff, which obviously you are now, but like I remember when I was younger, everyone was like, "Oh, but your knees will be fucked."
Yeah, I feel like people just don't know how to run.
Yeah, I was like,
I feel like I don't mean that in a bad way. I just think,
dude,
I watch people run sometimes, and they like overstriding to the max. I'm like, you're gonna have destroyed knees, or they're just doing every single workout as hard as they can, and then they like bust out after 2 weeks. So like, I can't do this. I'm like, everybody. I always go back, but people are like, oh, like I want to go for a run with you, and like I can't run with you. You run too quick. I'm like, I promise you, most of my runs are slow. I do 2 quick runs a week, and other than that, I will literally run at any pace. I just need to get the kilometers in. I don't care. Yeah. Well, not any pace. I want to go slow.
Yeah, I remember it's funny people's perspective on what is a run as well, because like my girlfriend Cass, when she was living here, she was like, I'm gonna run, and then she'd come back and like show me like numerous videos and pictures. Yeah. I'd be like, I think you were running. She was like, yeah.
Running,
I was
taking
like,
photos.
What? She was like, yeah, like I ran like a kilometer, and then like there was a thing that I took a picture of, and I was like, and obviously I'm more chill about it now, but at this point, maybe like a couple of years ago, I was totally like, you run and you don't stop running. Like I was just like, the concept of like leisurely running and like taking a picture, I was like,
what are you doing?
As soon as I stopped, I'm like, oh, this isn't a run anymore. I'm just like now
it's a walk.
I'm now a random guy just running around taking pictures. But no, I know what you mean. Like I had that with Jesse when he was I was doing that longer distance run. He would like kind of constantly ask me to go runs. And to be fair, again, I was like, well, I'm following this like program. Like in hindsight, I actually probably easily could have like swapped like one run a night. But I think because I was still like getting into this whole thing, like endurance stuff, I was a bit like, no, it says this thing.
Yeah, I need to do this.
Whereas now I'm like, like say someone just randomly was like, do you want to go swim tomorrow? I'd probably be like, yeah, cool. If I swim in any capacity, like
you're just building the reps. Yeah, fucking just add more time in it.
But when Jesse was asking me, I was like, this dude smoke me, and I was kind of like, that actually wasn't what I was saying. No, it was because I honestly was kind of obsessed with this. I was like, no, I must do this thing. And now I'm like, I probably could have.
So this is what this is completely different, similar. But the reason I didn't use my coach again on this last training block was because I used ChatGPT. I used ChatGPT as my coach for like literally everything. The reason I bring it up now is because I would have situations like that where a friend would ask me to go for a run or something, and I would literally just be like, ChatGPT, like my friend wants to do this, they're probably going to want to run like 10K with me. What like, how do we restructure the rest of my week so that this is feasible. You know what I mean? So that way you don't have to be like, oh, I can't do it because it doesn't match my plan. I'd be like, I can definitely do it with you. It might change up my week. I don't know how it's going to change my week, but ChatGPT will know how it changes my week.
Yeah.
And I would literally every single day, I probably spoke, there's like one thread that I had that was like my Boston thread with ChatGPT. And I would ask it every single day, like, this is what I'm doing. This is how I'm feeling. These are the runs that I'm doing. This is the structure in which I want my training plan to be. Cause I had like a semi idea. Like I wanted to try that like double threshold, like Norwegian style double threshold stuff where you like it's actually more designed for 5,000 meter and 10,000 meter runners, but it was like you do an AM session and a PM session twice a week at your like pretty quick, your threshold, at your threshold pace. And yeah, I would literally like do my AM threshold, be like, okay, I felt good. I did like the workout that you suggested. The PM workout, I maybe have 45 minutes instead of the hour that I thought I was going to have. Like, how can we adjust this? What should the workout be? It is crazy because it's like having a coach with you 100% of the time.
Yeah, that's wild. I'm still dipping my toe into like getting into. I use ChatGPT a lot, like work wise, but yeah, you're right. Like, I totally forget that you can actually just.
I have gotten so many people addicted to it. Yeah, because like even when I was traveling in South America, what I would do as soon as I'd land, when I was still sitting in the plane, I would literally not book my hostel until I had asked ChatGPT, like, what are the areas I should be looking at? What are the best restaurants in town? What are the best cafes? What are the things that I need to be doing? I would literally be like, give me the top things that I need to see in this place. How long should I stay here? Because I typically didn't have much of an itinerary. I would just keep it super flex. And it literally would tell me like, these are the best things to do. And obviously you then go and meet people and you go ask people like what is worth doing. But I would ask it everything. I'd like, what is the history of this country? Like, why does this country exist? Why do I care about these things? I go on like these walking tours and stuff. And this is kind of sad almost, but I wouldn't trust the person telling me this stuff. I would just be like, okay, I take a photo of ChatGPT, be like, this is this thing. What is this? And it would usually be pretty similar to what the guy was saying, but like, typically more detailed because it has everything. I use it, no joke, for everything. I literally will be like, I accidentally subscribed to this newspaper or like magazine recently. I was just trying to do like a free trial, but I literally will be like, it knows me so well that I'll be like, okay, I subscribe to this. Like what articles do you think I would enjoy? It would give me a list of 10, gives me the link. I click on them and then I'll read whatever it sends me. I'll say, I really enjoyed number 3. Give me stuff that's similar to number 3. It gives me a list from there. I ask it to recommend me podcasts. It's crazy.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
It's crazy.
You're like deep in the,
I love it.
Yeah. No, I love it as well, but I definitely don't utilize it as much as that. Like, but yeah, you're right. I've only started doing that where like, as I say, I was just using it for work and now like, I've been using it for the nutrition thing.
Yeah.
I used it for the gym where I was just like, hey, like I'm swimming the English Channel, if, like give me a 1 day gym workout.
Yeah.
Like, and then you're like, hey, I can't do that exercise because of this, like swap it up. And interesting. So with my back and my hips, like, so from January 2023 until like maybe a month ago, like I had like pretty bad like pain in them.
Yeah.
Went from multiple x-rays, multiple ultrasounds, blood work, multiple physios, like everything. And eventually was just like, I just had and it wasn't getting anywhere, it wasn't getting any better. So anyway, and I'd kind of found something that was working this exercise thing called McGilby 3. So eventually, I think it was one night, it randomly popped in my head. Like a couple of months ago, I was fucking putting in ChatGPT and I was like, hey ChatGPT, like, have this pain, have done all these things.
Yeah.
I found this one thing that helps it. And it gives me like 4 things. And he's like, is there anything, and it comes back to me and it's like, are there any situations that like aggravate it or like trigger it or whatever? And I'm like, yeah, like when I sleep, it's worse when I sleep and then wake up and they're like, oh, that's number 2 then. So like, it was like, do you want an exercise, a 15-minute workout to do a day based on number 2? And I was like, yeah, dude, been doing that and it's fucking pretty sweet.
It's crazy. It's so, I think I also read something interesting the other day where it was like, it is the only thing that will listen to you no matter what and will listen to every single thing you say. Because like even going back to the therapist, like, they might get distracted for 10 seconds in the entire thing, but they will get distracted at some point. This is just, it is listening to you and every single input that you have, and it is using everything it can possibly do to help you. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Do you ever say thanks?
Yeah, I do. I was reading though that apparently it wastes a lot of computing power, but I was like, just in case it becomes like Gentic
the
or at
be
some
all and end
point,
up.
yeah, it's like, that guy said thanks to me. He's good.
So I was the same. I was telling Dom, the guy I work with, about that. I was like, dude, and I honestly would be serious where I would say thanks every time.
Yeah.
And he did that. He like pulled up the article. He's like, apparently it's like 1 point something, I think it was million, if not billion.
Yeah.
He was like, they waste on electricity responding to people who have just said thanks. So now I've stopped doing it, but I feel bad, even though this is like a robotic thing. I'm like, but what happens if it does come into, because see, when you say thanks, it's like, no worries. And I'm like, okay, so.
Yeah, sweet. It knows.
I know, but I think definitely, ChatGPT, like, if I was to, when I do stop doing the swim, like, I probably would like take, I don't know what I'll do, but like, I would instantly just be like, give me, I'd probably just be thinking about what to do at the time. Maybe give me like a gym workout for 5 days. And it's kind of crazy how good it is. Like, there must be like quite a lot of coaches who, I can't even think like my swim coach just now is amazing, so I would definitely stay with him, but it kind of does make you think. You're
100%.
If I knew a little bit, because I didn't know anything really about swimming, which is why he's amazing.
Yeah.
But like, you do it for a while and you're like, well, I probably could have just like, if I was to do something again, just be like, hey, ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Because now I like probably have more of the fundamentals down.
100%.
Of like technique and stuff like that.
And I even like I was saying, I knew that I wanted to try this like other type of training.
Yeah.
So I did a bit of research myself, and then I was like, look, I want to try doing something like this. Like I want to try doing this style of training. Let's work a plan out together. It kind of knows, I was like, my goal is to run X. Kind of knows like your level, because it's like, it's not just going to give me a basic run 3 times a week a little bit. It's like, this guy wants to run quick. Like, let's dial in and give a great training program. You do catch, like, I think having a bit of knowledge helps, because I'll catch it, make a mistake, and I'll be like, that workout makes literally no sense for me. Like, why would you suggest that? And it's like, oh yeah, sorry, I did this, like, let's readjust. So kind of helps having a bit of a base to understand it. So I think doing it with nothing is actually a little bit worse. It'd be great, I think, as a coach for other people, it's a great tool for them, because you can help coach like a ton more people. Be like, hey, this guy's on this program, this guy's on this. Yeah, it's kind of cool.
I tried to do, when we were doing we had like our year-end meeting for work yesterday, and I tried to do like I used ChatGPT to try and do the like year-end accounts, like just to try and get a quick number, and it was like $400,000 off, and I was like, okay, it just like wasn't there. Yeah, because I knew what the total like for expenses and incomes were, and it was like $400K off, and I was like, right, okay, cool, this definitely doesn't work all the time. Yeah, and I made the mistake though, because I just used it. I used it still as just like a general outline of being like, because like we were trying to do like top expenses and all this stuff, and I was like, that probably is right, even though it's missing this chunk. Yeah. But then I made the mistake. So I premised it by telling my boss, I was like, hey, look, these numbers are wrong. I was like, but just like, this is actually still quite a good outline of like,
what we need.
But he just then became obsessed with the number, and he's like, where's this? And I was like, the numbers are wrong. I was like, I'm just using it to show you the ranking of like 1, 2, and 3, which probably are correct. Payroll's the highest, X, Y, Z. But he then just was like, yeah, but where's all the money? And I was like, right, okay, right.
Yeah, this is going good. Yeah.
It was like it was just like, I shouldn't have showed them the numbers, because he then just became obsessed with
and then
numbers.
Like ignored everything else we said.
Yeah, but I think, with the more like, I've definitely used it with like the training side of things a little bit. But I guess that's really good. I probably could have just been like, hey, I'm pretty tired. Like, can I swap this for this? Yeah.
Or just like, why am I tired?
Yeah.
That was what I did. I was like, why am I fucking constantly tired?
Dude, yeah, I know.
And it was like, a bit of it was like being a bit soft. It was like, if you're feeling tired, like run less. And I was like, that's literally not the answer. It's not the right answer. But then it was...
Did it say that? Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, if you're still feeling tired next week, like, maybe doing 130K isn't the right idea. And I was like, well...
So rational.
I was like, this is part of the training program. I don't have a choice.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that next week, because it's like, I know I can. It's just I'm tired.
Did you get to the bottom of it?
No, not really. I was just tired.
Are you still tired? Oh, no,
I'm good now. But I was taking some supplements. Like I was just taking some omega-3 for like just joint inflammation. I was taking a magnesium for the muscle stuff, which apparently helps. I've heard, I don't know if this is for like other activities as well, but iron gets depleted from running. I've heard it has something to do with like the impact of just like constantly hitting or something.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if it's just in general working out or for running specifically. I was taking like an iron supplement. and it was a vitamin D. I don't know why I'm taking vitamin D, but somebody.
Well, I think most people are like, I think
Deficient.
most people in the world are like deficient in iron.
Yeah,
I think, I definitely know in the UK that was like a big thing, but that's because obviously
so nobody eats meat
fucking
anymore as
miserable.
well, which is a big, because I know a lot of people get a lot of the iron from eating meat.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think a lot of people are iron deficient at the moment.
Yeah, no, I know. I think, yeah, it's that kind of weird balance because I'm kind of juggling, as I said a couple of times now, like I'm juggling that whole thing just now where I'm like swapping from this vitamin to that vitamin and I'm trying to like have more protein and that's where it's like, see if I had all the money in the world. No, take that back. See if I was just rich, right? You know, and people are like, money doesn't buy you happiness, but see if I had a shitload of money, I would go to like the best nutritionist
100%.
and just be like, test me thoroughly.
Yeah.
Tell me what I need to fucking
create a meal plan for me. Tell me what I need to eat. I actually had the same conversation where I was like, yeah, I'm not the richest in the world. Like, if I had just a lot of spare money, like I would have a physiotherapist with me 100% of the time to just like manipulate me.
Yeah, because that's what they said about or read it or heard it or whatever. But like LeBron James spends like 1.5 million on his body. And I think like way back when I heard that, I was like, that's crazy. But now I'm like, that's probably not that crazy because it's like, you know, getting like massages every day, personal chef, like every other fucking like possible thing that he probably does, like ice baths, blah, blah, blah. Like, $1.5 million is probably, I mean, it's a lot of money, but.
And then in the next breath, somebody will be like, how is LeBron still playing? This is crazy. And it's like, it's probably because he's taking such good care of his body. He's like the oldest player in the NBA and still really good.
Yeah. I think I would just get like an MRI every year. I'd just be like, test me.
So I went to get an MRI on my ankle the other day and they do at this place, they sell them. They just like, you can do a full body MRI. You pay for it because it's not going to be covered by a doctor, but they're like, you can just go in there and do an MRI of your whole body.
How much was it? Do you know?
I can't remember. It was like $8,000 or something.
Oh, it's like
it's expensive.
Right, yeah.
But it's like, you know, go in, probably the person who's wealthy and, you know, thinks they got cancer is like, just give me an MRI of everything.
But are they in themselves terrible for you because it's a big, massive x-ray?
I don't know. I don't know if MRIs, I don't know.
I have no idea how it works. But I honestly probably would do that. I would just be like...
At some point, if I have enough money, that'd be sweet.
Well, dude, that's the thing, because with this back thing, so like for me, it was genuinely like 2 years of like going to this doctor who referred me to that doctor who sent me for x-rays, who sent me for an ultrasound. And you know, like, see if I had, again, money, I'd just go a private, the person.
Yeah.
And be like... I probably would have got an answer within like 2 weeks, not 2 years.
Yeah, that is the frustrating thing about this type of stuff. Like, you need to get a referral and then you got to wait 3 weeks or a month or 2 months and then you get a referral from them and you got to wait 2-3 weeks or a month.
And then you're kind of like, oh, well, I'll just give it a couple months and see how it is.
Yeah.
Whereas, if you just had all the money and I would literally just be like...
Yeah, fly down to the US and be like, yo, take a quick look at me.
Yeah. I'd go like South America and just get like all the stem cells.
Yeah.
I'd be like, shut me up.
Yeah, make me better.
I think... and it was interesting, like going, so I had like the wrong mentality with my injury when I was like, I just need to be bigger and stronger, like bigger muscles, stronger muscles. And then what I kind of have found out through this whole process is like, and they explained it in such a way that I can't remember, but what they were saying was like, imagines it's less to do with like your muscles and more, my thing anyway, was less to do with my muscles and more to do with my body mechanics, i.e. you could be the biggest, like the most like, muscly guy possible, but if your physical movements and body mechanics are incorrect, that's where the pain is.
Yeah.
So all the muscles are not going to help you if you're incorrectly moving, which is what I was probably doing. So it was kind of like an eye opener to be like, oh, like you know, the thing that I do isn't. It's like the bird dog, the curl up, and the side plank.
What it was like?
Like they're just like 3 exercises that are just like they're all just core stuff, and you do them like. I've kind of got like 2 versions of it, but like one of them I just do like, do like 3 sets of 5 each side. So like, I guess what I'm getting at there is like, I'm not going to the gym and getting bigger muscles and all that stuff to get stronger, but like just doing this like effectively like calisthenics, body thing is far superior than just like going to the gym.
Has it worked? Have you felt better?
Definitely. Yeah, like 100%. And like, I was honestly at that point. I was honestly at that point where I was like, I guess I've just fucked my back.
Yeah, I'm just fucked for the rest of time.
And I do think like, I mean, it's definitely still there, but it's like significantly better, and has been getting better, which is why I'm confident that it will go at some point if I just keep doing it. But it does make you think. But the thing that I've been so obsessed with not giving up for the 2 years is because I'm into like running. And
cycling. you want to do the shit. You want to be like. And I think broken for the rest of time.
Yeah, but I think to myself, like, how many people who aren't into sports who have something like that, who then are just like, well, my back's fucked, and they just live the rest of their life with like a fucked back because sorry, I guess what I'm saying there is like my driving force to get it better was because of my lifestyle and
you want to do something.
Yeah. Whereas if that wasn't my lifestyle and I was more into like, I guess stuff that just didn't involve my body, like would I just then would my back just be in pain for like ever?
Yeah, some of my mates are like that. They'll be like, "Oh, I'm in pain. I don't do stuff though, so I don't really care that much." I'm like, "Bro, doesn't that suck?
Oh,
just being in pain all the time."
Because you wake up and literally the first thing I would think is I'd wake up and then my hips would be stiff, so I'd instantly. Even though I wouldn't think this consciously, I wouldn't be like, great, my day's ruined, but I would wake up and be like, oh, sweet, I'm stiff.
Yeah, I can't do anything.
The first thing you think of is just like, oh, fuck yeah, my back's still fucked. It's been, a year and a half now.
Oh, that blows.
But yeah, whereas now I'm waking up and I'm fine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just don't even think about it. So like, I guess, like, it's just that my first thought isn't like a negative, like, oh, I'm still... have this thing, and like obviously like I was like feeling pretty negative about that for like 2 years, and then like factor that by like fucking your life.
Yeah,
like I think and
it just like builds. So you got to have those people who like have had that for 35 years, and they're like so angry.
I know, like my mom's actually, she just has like more like episodes where she'll have like, and I think it's literally like weeks at a time.
Yeah,
but she's one of these people where she's just like, I have a bad back.
Yeah,
and now that I've kind of had like a little experience of it, I'm like, do you though, or have you just not found
not done anything about it? Yeah,
just like found the thing that is that's just like helps it.
Well, I think sometimes people also use it as an excuse, like, oh, I can't do this because I have a bad back, and then because of that, they like do actually have some problem because they don't do anything.
Yeah,
but, like one of my mates like hurt his knee and was like, oh, I can't do anything because I hurt my knee. I'm like, I think you're okay now. To be fair, I haven't done anything. I haven't had I had a bit of pain from stuff, but I haven't had any ACL, MCL. Like, knock on wood.
Oh yeah, it's gonna happen now.
Yeah, exactly. Can't have that. That would suck.
Yeah, no, I know. I think. God, I try and think I think if I was to have like a serious injury, like that actually, like say your sprained ankle, sorry, I think I would just try and be a lot more proactive and like switch into something. Maybe like do the whole piano thing for that period.
Oh, you think so?
I would try. I mean, I'd say that now. Like, again, touch wood. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But I think I would try and be more like, just not be so obsessed with like my life is
this
physical exercise.
That's fair.
Like swapping up to.
Well, I thought that for a while, where I was like, knock on wood again, but like if I became a paraplegic, there was a point where I was like, oh, I don't think I would want to live. But now I've actually like completely flipped, where I'm like, if it happened, like I've got other things that I think I could just completely dial in.
Yeah.
On, like you're saying, I think I could just not worry. You would definitely, I wouldn't be happy, but you like, I think that there is enough other things in my life that I could just dial in on that, and that would be my focus.
I know. I think that's where like my heart honestly bleeds to people that like that stuff like that happens to them, or people who just are born without with a physical disability that just allows them from doing stuff that we can do.
Yeah.
And you're just like, fucking hell, man. Like, and I guess that's because my life is that therefore I can't really, I'm like, what would I do? And you maybe just made the point there that you would no doubt find something else to move on.
I think it's like, if you have that mentality, you'll find something that interests you. And I do think there's people, and you never know, like, that you just like wallow on that happening for the rest of your life. But I think perseverance, just, I can do this thing. Like, I used to be able to do this. I can't do this. I will do something else.
Yeah. Because I mean, like, what? Like, you're just going to kill yourself. Like,
yeah.
I mean, ultimately, like
100%. Otherwise, I think I'm also like a very firm believer in general, that you have you have control over things in your life. I'm not like a determinist, or like, there are definitely some things that are out of your control. Like, guy drinking and driving can hit me and like I'll die. Like, that's just completely out of my control. Kind of what I was talking about earlier, even with like running in Boston like a bomb, like it's just out of my control. But there is enough things that are in my control that I can dictate a lot of things in my life. So I think that's why sometimes I get disappointed when I'm not doing something, because I'm like, this is something that is completely controllable in my life that I can do.
Yeah.
Why am I not doing it?
Yeah.
So I'm like, I think that there's like a free will, like the idea that there are things that are my choice. I want to be able to execute the things that are my choice, basically.
Oh, dude, like even like super simple. Like last night, I doom scrolled on YouTube for 3 hours plus, probably. Yeah, honestly, like, and I remember like at some point I'm laughing because and this is the God's honest truth, it got to like 10 o'clock. I was like lying on my bed doom scrolling, gets to 10 o'clock. I remember like I like sat up on my bed and I just sat there in the dark.
Yeah, like, what am I doing?
I literally was like, what the fuck have you just done? As if I was like, I just like committed a crime. I was just like sitting there, I was like, what the fuck have I just done? And it's just to your point, I was like, I could have, I mean, to be fair, like I was kind of tired because it was like a work thing and like, it was kind of like intense, not in like a bad way, just in like, there was a lot of shit we were going over. So I was kind of tired when I came in and I could have chilled for a little bit and then read a book or gone a run. But I just was like, you just sat and like, just fucking scrolled through YouTube for 3 hours.
Sometimes that probably is good for you.
I know, but sometimes I'm just like, oh my God, surely I could have done something better than.
Yeah. Mine's even like getting up in the morning. I don't know why I have such a problem with it. Like,
oh, do you?
Yeah, I don't like.
Do you go to bed late though?
No, I go to bed. I pretty much aim, like my goal is 7.5 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
I sometimes lean more into like the 8 because I'll wake up 7.5 hours later and I'm like, I try and always wake up pretty early so that I can do things before I'm going to go to work or something. But I'll wake up at 7 and I'll be like, oh, why am I doing this? I actually don't care. Like I'm just going to go back to sleep so I can sleep until the thing that I'm going to do, which I do very often. So I've really been trying to figure out a way to like, I put my alarm last night on the other side of my room so that I have to get out of bed, but I accidentally set it the night before 15 minutes earlier than I usually do. So then I was like, oh, well, why did I do that? I'll just turn it off. I got back in bed and then my phone alarm downstairs went off half an hour later and that's when I got up. But I'm trying to create ways to get me out of bed, which feels weird because I feel like I seem like a person that would be very good at just like, getting up and getting out of bed. But I don't know what it is. I just like to lie in bed in the morning. Good at night. When I get into bed at night, I will go to bed immediately. I don't do anything.
Oh, do you? Yeah.
I read maybe for like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I've always been a great sleeper. I just like lie in bed and I'll fall asleep immediately.
And so you said you have your phone downstairs. Are you like?
I just started doing that.
Have you?
But
Right,
with
cool,
work, I will not be able to do that.
I know.
So that's why I'm like, a bit of it is I've been doing it now because I know I can't. And during the summer, on my days that I'm not working, I am going to continue doing it because I know that I need to have my phone next to my bed in case something happens on the days that I am working.
Yeah. So what I've did this last couple of summers where like, because you obviously do sunrise shuttles as well, such as us, and there was a couple of times, there was like 2 times, I think even last summer where like something happened, like the vehicle was broken down or whatever, and my phone's going off for like, God, honestly mate, God knows what time it's going off. I know. And the thing is though, like, or like mine and Jeff's phone was going off, and I think both times Jeff had got to, but what happened was like I just immediately woke up in like this ultimate stressful situation. And then the rest of the day was a total shit show, and I didn't even really contribute that well to like getting a resolution because I was so fucking, I don't know what the word is, like just like fried. So what I did was like but I also have, and I don't know if you have this with Jesse, but I also do have the comfort where like Jeff is kind of like the go man, like when it comes to like anything that's super early, like he's kind of the guy. Mm-hmm. So I set my phone on purpose to like do not disturb to anyone.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, to like, I think it's like 7 a.m. because that was the time where I'm like, if someone wakes me up at 7 a.m., like I can wake up and be like, fine. Go. Yeah. Whereas like, I was like, any time before that is like me waking up is honestly pointless because I'm just so like fucked, really.
Yeah, that's fair. That kind of goes back to what you were saying earlier about your hips and your back, That's like if you wake up and the first thing is that you saw, you're going to be fucked for the rest of the day. If you wake up to a stressful situation. I have mine. I'm also on Do Not Disturb until 7 a.m., but mine allows for calls from our sunrise drivers. Oh, no. It allows for calls from like one of the other things that we have to ensure that nothing has gone wrong. But ours is a bit different where there's like a different workflow that it's not always me first. Yeah. So although I have it open, it will sometimes direct to somebody else prior to me. Like even last year, it wasn't that many times. It was probably like 8 or 9 times I got woken up at like 3 in the morning or so. Yeah. This year I anticipate it'll be even less, like 2 maybe. Yeah.
Well, it happened to me like maybe a month or 2 ago with like work where I had our driver just missed someone, but it was like 6 a.m. in the morning, and this was going to Calgary airport though, so the person had a flight. So Jeff calls me, and I was actually but it was before 7. Yeah. So I was so confused as to what had happened, and I'd realised on the app, which you probably know this, but if someone double calls you, it goes through. Yeah. I didn't know this. So even though I had it set up, Jeff double called me and it came through, and I remember being like, I was so confused. I was like, what?
How are you calling me?
I couldn't say that because I couldn't be like, I've blocked your number. Yeah. So yeah, what happened was like the driver missed this person. She had a flight. This is now like maybe like half. I think it was like say like 20 to 7 in the morning.
Yeah.
So she's now been there for 40 minutes. She was to leave 40 minutes ago. And I called, Jeff said, you need to do this. And I was like, right, cool, up. Called the ghetto and I was like, hey, look, and I was just like so transparent about it. I was like, look, I've just woken up.
I
like,
will be there.
I was like, what has happened? She's like, I've been here. Driver hasn't turned up, blah, blah. And I was like, right, cool. I'm on my way, but I was like, I'm literally have just woken up. I was like, and then she was getting picked up in the Moose. I live just around the corner from you.
Yeah.
So like 2 minutes away.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll be there in, honestly could be there in 20 minutes by the time I like get out, get the vehicle. So anyway, take her to the airport. The whole way, I'm just like, she's actually super sweet. She was like our age, like a girl from somewhere. Drop her off at the airport, but she was so nice in the drive that I was like, this girl, I could just tell she's going to give me a tip because she was being so nice, even though we had fucked up.
Yeah.
So I'd said to myself in my head, I was like, I'm not going to take a tip from her. Like if she gives me a tip, I was like, I'm not going to take it. This is our fault. Like,
yeah.
Anyway, we get there, I'm dropping off, and she's like trying to get off. She's like, here you go, and I'm like, nah, like no.
That is we fucked this up.
Yeah. And she said, no, please take it. And I'm like, no. And she just wouldn't like let it go. And I was honestly kind of stressed about her, like getting her flight. So I was just like, fuck it. So yeah, I was like, cool, yeah. Felt really bad about it, but I was like, right, cool, sweet, just go, like whatever, I don't care. May I get home, and she'd given me $100 American tip.
No way.
Yeah. I felt honestly terrible about the whole thing. Even though it wasn't my fault.
Yeah.
I was like, she was so fucking nice about it and gave me $100. And I was just like, because I had her number because I'd called her, so I messaged her being like, hey, like I'm like I don't think I really mentioned the tipness. I obviously said thank you, but I think I was just like, hey, look, I really hope you made your flight. And she said yeah, and I was like,
thank God.
But yeah, I was just like, when I opened it, like I usually you get a big tip and you're like, sweet. Like I actually opened this and I was like, I was thinking
we don't deserve this right now.
And her mum, like, because her mum sent us an email and she's like, we want to thank Richard, me obviously, for like being a massive hit. They were so nice about the fact that we had totally fucked up. So anyway, so yeah, like that was a long way of saying that, like, yeah, like on the rare occasion that you can get woken up early and it's kind of sweet.
Yeah.
I was saying like, this is kind of cool. Actually.
Yeah, it's nice, but 2 a.m. is not nice.
No, I know.
It's not nice, but
so
I don't mind like half an hour earlier than I would, because then it's like, oh, whatever, I'm just getting my day going.
Yeah, no. Sometimes usually in the first half hour before my alarm, I'm just kind of like, I might as well get up anyway, because I'm like rolling, checking my phone.
You go like this, you're like, okay, it's pretty much, I'll just lie here for another half hour.
So you're going to try and do any like with the busyness of the summer season, are you going to try and do like any running? Or you
this is a plan. The plan is to work a little bit less than I did last summer, not crazy amounts less, but just enough that I can actually squeeze time in to go for a run. I'd like to keep it up. I think the best way for me to run a quick November or December marathon is to just like maintain the base that I have now and then improve on this base like in a few months, basically. Yeah.
And have you got a race that you haven't?
No, I'm leaning. My aunt was going to get me something for my birthday and she was like, what do you want? I was like, I'm going to do a race in November. If I pick a race. So I was leaning towards Philadelphia because Jesse had mentioned that one from last year and said that it was a good race. There's another one just close to where I grew up. It's called the Hamilton, something, I can't remember, but it's supposed to be a pretty quick race. I was just looking for something that's quick. I'd like to run a flat course. I think I could have run a sub 240 on the race I just did. Just Boston kind of broke me at the hills, and I think that if I just do this again, I can run a sub 240. But I'm already like, I don't want to go sub 240. I want to go sub 235. But that's down the road. So I'm hoping that we can get that pace.
Yeah, that'd be sweet. I mean, it's a good place here to.
It's a good place to train.
Yeah.
Train at altitude.
Yeah. Did you feel that helped you?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think it does a little bit.
Yeah, to a degree.
It's so hard to tell. Like I find that it just feels all the same to me.
Yeah.
But I think because you can't. I just think because I can't physically feel the difference between like 2 seconds a kilometer faster and where I am, and I think my altitude probably gives me like a second or two quicker than I probably could do on a like if I ran the race here. So it's hard to tell, but it must help a little bit.
Yeah. I wonder if it definitely must.
Yeah,
because I guess like
You'll get that as well.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that, but yeah, I guess it's like, but you're also like when you're doing the thing, the race, and you're also like super jazzed
Yeah,
for
they're
that.
just like,
so,
yeah,
like,
exactly. There's so many other factors.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really know, but it must do something.
Yeah.
I just don't know if it, like an amateur athlete, I wonder if it makes that much of a difference. I wonder if in the elites, it's like, it really does that little extra where it's like noticeable, whereas for us, it's a bit different.
Yeah, I guess going back to like if I had money, mate, I would just like, I would just train, like I would just be an athlete, like as in, I may not be actually professional at anything, but I would just treat myself like an athlete, and I would just like, like do all the things athletes do. Because I bet you, like, see, you and I like talking about being like tired and stuff like that. I bet you if you dialed that in, you'd feel fucking amazing.
Yeah, if you like figured out a way to not be tired.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pro athletes must. I even like looking at like longevity and like how like semi-elite athletes, like how long they live, quality of life up until later age, and everything is just a positive. They live longer. Right. The quality of life for these people is typically you get like more higher quality years until it like declines, like most people. Yeah, there's just like so many benefits. I think that's another piece of going back to the running. Like, I will continue. I think just it'd be sweet to live a little bit longer. Yeah, especially like have kids maybe a little bit later than my parents had kids, and so I want to be able to be around for their kids. Yeah, I remember I worked with my dad like a decade plus ago, and so my dad at that point was 60 because he's just turned 70, so he was 60, and I worked with him and there was an old boy that used to work there as well who was the same age as my dad, right? But he looked like he could be my dad's grandfather. My dad's father. Yeah, like your grandfather. Yeah. It was mind-boggling to me the first time that someone was like, "Oh yeah, Jock's like 60," and I was like, what? No way. And because my dad's like us, like he's just always been into like again running, like super fit. Even at 70, they were here a couple months ago skiing, totally fine. Oh, really? Yeah, like totally fine. But yeah, this guy Jock, unfortunately, he passed away like a number of years ago. But like when I was there, like they couldn't have been more opposite. Yeah. But they were the same age. And I remember just being like, that's wild to see. Or just compounds as well, I'm sure. Yeah, like that guy smoked like when I say every day, it wasn't even every day, mate. It was every minute of the day. He was like old school chain smoker. Yeah. Which is kind of sad because that's actually ultimately what killed him in the end. But yeah, just like what you say, like I got a couple of mates now, like around our age, who are still living the kind of like, like alcohol and extracurricular activities lifestyle. And you just think like, I know you can't be guaranteed that you're going to live forever. Obviously, you're not going to live forever until you live like a long life. I could die tomorrow, get hit by a bus, right? But you do think like if you do live to say like 80, like my mates now who are still into all that stuff, I'm like, mate, you're going to be fucked by the time you're like 50. Yeah. And like from 50 to 80, it's just going to be like brutal. Again, you're not guaranteed you like anything can happen to you, but I'm like, surely you like... Yeah, 100%. Just that stuff must eventually compound and catch up with you. Yeah. Like I would definitely I would hope, touch wood again, that, you can get later in your life, still be able to do like tons of cool shit. Yeah, well, that's the goal. I don't know. I think a lot of times I hear even from like my dad and stuff like, oh, like that person, like all they care about is running. That's why they're still doing it. I'm like, maybe they just, they realize that it's good for you. And have you seen my age? Yeah. My age is 18. Yeah. That guy's 90 and his age says that he's like 40. Yeah. He's in the Bow Valley. It's 18. Yeah, he's still 18. Yeah. Yeah, it is. But yeah, I think that would be cool. I see some of the older athletes and I'm like, it'd be fucking sweet to do some of that stuff. As a much older person. Yeah, it also terrifies me sometimes when I look at like really old people, like ancient people who are like barely moving. Yeah. And you're like, that will 100% be me one day, regardless of how like fit and whatever I am. Like eventually you're going to get to a point. Yeah, where you just can't do it. I just like look at people and just like... They wake up in pain every day. Oh, man. Yeah, I know. That's why I was just like, yeah, I need to get over this now in my 30s, But look, I appreciate you sitting down for so long with me and just that was fun. And just chatting shit with me. Yeah, honestly, I appreciate it because you've like just the whole time I've lived here, I've always seen you run. Obviously, got to know you a little bit more, and then you're just always like super positive. So I was like, need to chat to Gavin. Sweet, we'll do it again. Yeah, definitely, mate. Yeah, maybe after you do if you get PB in your marathon. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Yeah, like cool. Well, I appreciate it. Sweet, man.